Morning Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Let the party begin!
The show starts now.
All right, we get things rolling on this Wednesday morning. It is the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Shortest day of the year comes tomorrow, December 21st, the winter solstice. But today, we got a lot to squeeze in. We got like a 10-pound bag, a 10-pound bag, but we got like 15 pounds worth of stuff we got to squeeze in. And as we start out our 6 o'clock hour, brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters here for the Pro. So yesterday, I just decided to take like a sort of informal poll, as it seems as if day after the Eagles game, everybody was in heavy reaction mode, including myself. Everybody's there. And I made this statement to numerous people that are Eagles fans, that I believe the Eagles are going to win the NFC East. I believe the Eagles are going to be the 2 seed. I believe the Eagles are going to win 2 playoff games. Not one person agreed with me. And when I say it was double-digit people, whether by text, conversation, or in person, not one person agreed with me. I look at it and I say, look, yes, it is a freaking disaster what we've dealt with the last, 3 weeks. But I really consider the only horrendous, terrible, disgusting loss to be the 49er game. It's the only game that I look at and go, they did not compete. They had no chance. They were terrible. The Dallas game, again, a drop at the 2-yard line, at the sideline by A.J. Brown that would have put him first and goal to 2. That is a pretty much guaranteed touchdown with the Eagles. A drop touchdown in the end zone by Devontae Smith. Then all of the fumbles. Then 3 fumbles in Dallas territory. That was a game you just peed away. Absolutely just let that one go. Monday night was a terrible loss because we were pissed that they didn't get the win. But was that like a disgusting, terrible effort? They were winning until 30 seconds to go in the game, the whole game for the most part. I'm telling you right now, Eagles finish out, win the division. Eagles secure the 2 seed. Eagles will then win 2 home playoff games. And then we'll see what happens in the NFC title game. And I promise you this, and here is where I will call out Philly media members, callers, or otherwise. If the Eagles are the 2 seed, I will say none of you who are right now like, oh man, this team's they're done. Stick a fork in them. They're finished. None of you will have the stones to say, oh, it's Eagles-Vikings week. Oh yeah, Eagles are going to lose to the Vikings at home. None of you, none, 0, are going to pick the Vikings to win that game. You know it, and I know it. You are going to jump right back on, tape up your ankles, and be back on that Eagle bandwagon, shaking your pom-poms. And then if they have the Lions at home, you're going to say the same. You're going to do the same thing. You'll be right back on. So look, I understand the disgust, and I understand that it has sucked. But you know and I know you're going to jump right back on the bandwagon as soon as they get the 2 seed. You're going to be right back there, and you're going to be like, oh, yeah, well, they're not losing to the Vikings at home. And could they? Sure they could. But none of you, 0, are going to have the stones to make that pick. And if you do, it's because you're trying to get attention. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get clicks. You're trying to get attention. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the Eagles are going to be a 2 seed. And I'll say it, as Pat would say, Bob, I'll say it with my chest.
Yeah, you better go grab Wilson and get on that deserted island there, John, because that's where you are right now.
I am. Nobody.
Listen, I agree with you about the San Francisco game and about the Dallas game. I couldn't disagree with you more about that Seattle game.
Okay, tell me your thoughts on Seattle just so we can
Seattle's
set it
a
up.
horrible defense. They scored 17 points. Seattle had a backup quarterback going, and you let him go 92 yards in under 2 minutes of play to win you the football game. The Eagles did absolutely. You have opponents out there making fun of you about how your offense is so predictable. You have national pundits out there and local experts saying that this is a joke. it's more than just playing 3 bad games or playing one horrible game, biting shooting yourself in the foot
right.
and then lose. It's more than that. Like, this team is in total disarray right now. And, yeah, of course, you could say they're 10.5-point favorite against the Giants and all. I can't say with any confidence at all that they're going to win a playoff game, 2 playoff games, not the way they're playing right now. Should things get fixed? Maybe, they start looking more like they did, that they figured out how to win games earlier in the season. Sure. But as far as calling out fans for saying, that's what fandom is. You get pissed off when the team loses. You hate them. They'll show up on Christmas Day for that game. There'll be either 2 ways. They'll either be Trey Turner fans, where you're going to give them standing ovation and say, come on, and try to get them going. Or it's going to be the boos are right there, locked and loaded, and they're going to be ready to pound down upon them. Now, that's what fandom is. Wait a minute, calling fans out to say, oh, you're going to be an idiot if you jump on there and say they're going to win.
I never called him an idiot.
I know you didn't. You know what you said.
Right, I called him out and said, because I know they're all going to jump back on the bandwagon.
That's what fans are. That means nothing. That's what fans are. Fans get pissed when you play bad, and they're going to be there for you come playoff time or when the next big game comes.
Yeah, but
of course they are.
But, Bob, I'm every bit a fan. I'm every bit pedigree a fan as anyone else. And guess what? That's not how I am as a fan.
That's you. You got to admit, you're much different than anybody else.
That's one way to put it.
You said it. That's why I said it.
That's one way to put it. Okay, look. I was pissed off after the San Fran game. Absolutely nuts. The Dallas game disgusted me. That's my best word for it. Disgusted me. The Seattle game sucked. It sucked. The finish sucked. But I get you on your points. I can't argue that it's frustrating when they get 17 points against a bad defense. But overall, that's not how I fan. I will fan as I can be pissed at my team, but I'm not giving up on them, and that's what people are doing. They're giving up on them. They're saying, oh, this team's done. Stick a fork in them. I heard nonsense yesterday about firing Nick Sirianni. Seriously. Are we just trying to be dumb? Are we just trying to be oh, no, fire the guy. He's going to win the most games in 3 years. He's going to be a top 5 coach in the history of the NFL. If he wins out, he is going to be a top 5 3-year coach in wins in the history of the NFL. And I hear people calling this radio station and you're like, you got to get rid of Sirianni. Got to be like, he's got to be gone. It's just stupid. It's overreaction. And I'm all for reaction. I love the reaction. Now, Brendan Gunn, I tell you, you're an old Philadelphia sports soul. You may be young, but you're an old soul when it comes to it. Do you fall more towards where Uncle Bob's sitting this morning?
Sort of, but it's just hard for me to jump ahead to the playoffs right now. This team has so many issues with them from the locker room. The guys are saying, Jeff McClain was on with Andrew yesterday and said the team's having no fun. You have Brandon Graham coming out and saying that he thinks Sean Desai got let go because the outside noise from the media. These guys aren't looking inward at themselves. Like right now they have serious problems within, and they need to address that on their own before I can jump ahead and say they're going to win 2 playoff games.
Do you think that that's going to affect them against the Giants?
I think it could. If they get off to a slow start, I could see them imploding completely.
Really? That's like something I can't even fathom. I cannot fathom. And look, I may look like a fool Monday night. I cannot fathom the Eagles even any chance that they lose that game. Any chance.
No, they should win. They probably will win. It's going to be tough. Even if they blow them the Eagles are in a mindset right now as an athlete. We've all been around plenty of them, coaches, all of that. Sometimes you get in this mindset of, damn, we're in a bad spot. And it's going to be tough to get themselves up off the ground. I don't care who the team is, to right the ship, all this outside noise. And as Brendan just said, there's a lot of inside noise, too.
A lot of inside noise.
You can lose 3 in a row. You can lose games during a season, no matter the sport. You can go into some... How many times have we talked about it all year? The peaks and valleys, right?
Yes.
When the 49ers lost 3 in a row, we said, look, this just could be happening. And maybe they will play their best football before the year's over. That's what it is. But if the valleys come with okay, everything will be all right, then you believe it more. This is coming with oh, my God, what the hell's going on here? And it's not just by fans or by me and you talking behind these mics. The team fired their defensive coordinator 13 games into a 10-3 record.
By the way, I applaud that. Demoted him.
But it just shows that there's something wrong. You know what I mean?
Let me give you this scenario, then the next one. to Bob and to Brendan, because it's going to happen. The Cowboys are going to lose on Christmas Eve at Miami. All right? I thought they'd lose to Buffalo. I never thought it would be the beatdown that it was. I thought they'd lose a shootout to Buffalo. I think they're going to lose to the Dolphins. And then what's everybody say? Are the Cowboys this juggernaut that can't be beaten? Are you're going to beat you beat the Giants, then all you're going to go is go, wait a minute. We just have to beat the Cardinals and win the division. Then 49ers are the boogeyman. They are they are last year's Eagles in the NFC. But then the Cowboys go out and lose a couple more. Then who's you worried about? Cowboys?
I'm
Lions?
worried about the Eagles.
No, I get you. But the thing is, somebody you have to say, well, they're better than the Eagles. The Cowboys will not be better than the Eagles at that point. They're not. The Cowboys will then have lost to teams that the Eagles already beat. And they found a way to lose to them. So then will it be, are the Lions? Is everybody going to go, okay, well, the Lions are real? No. The Lions are not a better team than the Eagles. Stop it.
Right now they are.
The Buccaneers are not. The Vikings are not. The Saints, the Rams, the Packers, they're not. They're not better. So the other words,
is Seattle better than those teams?
I don't believe Seattle would. I don't believe that Seattle would come in to Philadelphia and beat the Eagles.
I do believe they'll beat the Giants and all. The way that they're playing right now, though, I can't have any confidence that any playoff team is just a rollover for the Eagles. No chance, no hell, no way.
Yeah, well, I think the only rollover that I'll tell you is I do believe Christmas will be an absolute beatdown of the Giants. I think they will beat them to death. So I ask you, Brendan, Christmas Eve night, when the Cowboys have already lost to the Miami Dolphins, then what are you saying?
I mean, I kind of do think the Eagles are going to win the division. I'm not going to come up here and say I don't believe that. But how can I say they're going to win 2 playoff games? I just don't see it. And if we're going back to the beginning of the season, our views were not just to get to the NFC title game and hope that you beat the 49ers. Like the goal was to win the Super Bowl,
no
right?
argument.
So if we're going to go out there and just be happy, because if all things are equal, we're not beating the 49ers on the road. So I'm not happy with that.
Well, no argument with you at all. You are absolutely correct. The goal was to win the Super Bowl, and I thought they would win the Super Bowl. So I'm not backing off of that. I thought they'd win the Super Bowl. But in the course of a season, things change. Nobody thought the Eagles would go to the Super Bowl last year, and they did. That happens in a season. But if the Eagles end up the 2 seed and end up with, let's say, 12 or 13 wins, I mean, I'm not going to be like, disaster, fire Sirianni. This is just a...
No,
Look,
that would be a joke. That would
yeah, but you know what, though?
Irrational.
You know what, though? I heard it on this station yesterday. I heard people calling up this station going, you got to look at Sirianni. He's got to be, if they lose, they got to go. I'm like, come on. Let's just not go to the ledge and jump off.
Yeah, well, I mean, nobody's safe anymore. Jason Kelsey was getting it from the callers yesterday, too. So that's just where we are right now.
I got to tell you this, and there's one thing I want to ask Bob about. The going back and listening to that bite with Jaylen Hurts, and he throws Jason Kelsey under the bus. What the hell? What the hell is that about? That is out of, to me, that is out of bounds. That is out of freaking bounds. That Jaylen Hurts, who needs the biggest mirror right now to look at himself for what's wrong with this team, and he throws Jason Kelsey under the bus.
Yeah, there's a couple ways of looking at it. One is the way you are, saying, oh, my God, keep the other teammates' names out of your mouth and all that. The other thing is they could be so close. And, like my friends, if one of us steps out of bounds, that's the first person that's going to come to me is my friends.
Right, exactly.
And, and maybe he's comfortable enough in his relationship with Kelsey that he gets up there and he's like, yeah, bad false start there. And Kelsey would be like, yeah, you're absolutely right. And, yeah, I don't care that he said it. Of course it was. And it could be that. We don't know the ins and outs of relationships and all that. I would lean more towards the second part where they're a very tight group. And if somebody makes a mistake and, look,
everybody
9 times out of 10, he throws things on himself, and then if a couple times he says, yeah, we got to run better routes, or we can't have that as false starts, I don't think it's going to be too incriminating.
So we begin today with this. Am I on this island? Bob says it's me and a volleyball.
Yeah, we got to go get one on the break. Go get John a volleyball.
Bob says it's me and a volleyball, and already I know Haley's back there going, John and a volleyball. I think I could come up with this graphic. There is I do not believe I am on this island. I just believe that the people in my life think I'm nuts. So I want to hear from you, 610-632-0975. And by the way, if you were in Bob and Brendan's camp, I want to hear from you too, because maybe you could sway me or cause me to have more apprehension than I have right now. So that's how we'll get started on this Wednesday morning, 610-632-0975. It's the John Kincade Show here on 97.5, The Fanatic. I know this. You do not want to deal with a bunch of BS when you're dealing with your company's IT structure.
97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show on The Fanatic. Couple interesting numbers for you before we get to your calls at 610-632-0975. Andrew DiCecco from Inside the Birds with this one. Ricks and Ringo were filling in pretty much for Darius Slay. They didn't concede a catch. Not one.
Yeah, I mean, how many targets? 5?
Yes.
Yeah.
But they were going after Bradbury. The Seattle Seahawks said, we're picking on Bradbury. Darius Slay is out. And we were all like, damn, we're going up with Darius Slay out of the game? They didn't even bother to target the raw, unproven guys, athletic, unproven guys. They said, oh, wait a minute, Bradbury's in there. We're going to just torch him for a 118.6 QB rating.
Yeah, 8 targets, 7 completions, 116 yards, and a touchdown.
Don't sign 30-plus-year-old quarterbacks. Don't. It doesn't work. There's a reason teams don't do it. And the Eagles never were that team, Bobby. And that's something that bothers me about it. The Eagles never were the team to double down on old guys. They were the team to say, under Andy Reid especially, okay, maybe a year early, we'll get rid of somebody.
Yeah, but you bring up the young guys. So they have guys that they're going to look at that might be guys that, next year you can plug and play.
Yes.
So here, what's the thinking? You get done on a season where Slay and Bradbury have phenomenal years, but you're smart enough to still go out and get some corners through the draft, free agency, whatever. So you're thinking for the future. Could you try to squeeze one more year out of them? Was that their thinking? Probably. And I didn't question it. You did. I didn't question it at the time because they were coming off such good seasons. I thought it was good that they restocked a little bit through the draft, through free agency, that you do have some guys behind them. And now we're seeing Ringo and Ricks get some more run out there. So,
but what bothers me about it, though, Bob, is that they went into a week of planning, and the Seattle Seahawks said, we're going to go after Bradbury. We're not going after these unproven guys. That tells me all I need to know.
Yeah, their wide receiver core is great.
Yes, it is.
Seattle. So matchups probably don't bother them at all. You know what I mean? They call their plays.
Thing, right?
Right, exactly.
Thing. Okay, that's a good point. Hey, 610-632-0975. Tom in Alabama's up early with us. Good morning, Tommy.
Morning, John. How are you, my friend?
Doing all right, buddy. Hope you're feeling well.
Thank you. Same to you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, in the first year with Sirianni, it was 2-5 coming off at the wheels, but I don't think anybody was talking out of the locker room. And, I still want to see his full body of work the rest of the year. But, I'm going to ask you a question when you were saying about people saying about fire him. I'm not saying fire him.
I got you.
But if he has, with the players running their mouths and everything in the media, if he's lost the locker room, I mean, what else would you do?
Well, I got to tell you is, Tom, is that, and this year because of cancer, I haven't been in the locker room. But I'll go on game day sometimes. I got to tell you that I don't believe lost the locker room. I think it's something fans say. Now, could it happen? Yes. If this team crashes and burns and goes nowhere, yes, I could believe it. I'm not buying it this morning. And I do not believe we're there yet.
No, that's as damning as it can get. If you say those 4 words, lost the locker room, is as damning as you can attach to a coach, Tom. And no, I don't think it's anywhere near there yet.
Now, Tom, the one thing I would tell you, though, is, and I know you've talked about it with me before, is about I do believe that the one danger you have with some of these big stars that you're bringing in, Alabama guys, Georgia guys and everything is, they didn't face adversity in college.
Yeah,
and this is adversity in the pros.
Well, that's the difference between Saban and Sirianni. Now, I know Sirianni's dealing with professionals, but Nick Saban being the ultimate motivator, I mean, he knows what to say and do in this position, but it is a difference between college and pro.
Yes, and that's it. And good. I hope you're feeling better, buddy. Is like Jaylen Hurts. His college career. He goes through an unbeaten season and loses in the national title game. Like loses in their Super Bowl. The next year, he's part of a team that wins the national title. The next year, he loses in the national title game after an undefeated season. Then he goes to Oklahoma, and he loses in the college football. He loses in the Final Four in the college football semifinal, an undefeated season. I mean, it's
as far as wins go, I can see that, but I think Jalen Hurts dealt with more adversity than almost any college athlete ever at a major program.
Well,
that's a good point. Yeah, especially individually.
Yeah,
exactly. You know what happened, though? He played himself out of that job. It was sort of what we're seeing now.
Yeah, but you never saw that ever. You get benched at halftime in the national championship game. Like, that's unheard of.
Oh, it was crazy. It was crazy. But the only thing is that the adversity of, I'm talking about all the guys, you've been assembling that top-notch, top-tier SEC talent. And what those guys do, they take the field for 12 games a year, and 10 of them, they are so much more talented at almost every position than who they're playing. They should win. And I think there's something about that too, you got to learn to deal with adversity. And then you start to lose and you don't know how to handle it. But it's not the kids that are the problem right now. It's the veterans. It's Jalen Hurts. It's Darius Slay. It's James Bradbury. It's the veterans that are killing this team right now.
Well, the kids didn't have a great game last game either. I didn't hear Jalen Carter or Jordan Davis's name hardly at all.
Enough.
So, yeah.
Not enough. Let's put it that way.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. You looking for bright spots?
I'm trying. Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm very much looking for bright spots.
We brought up, the kids were in there, and for 5 passes, they didn't give up a completion. 5
targets. They were in there. They split the snaps.
Yeah, 5. We're talking about out of 65 plays. We're talking about 5. No, it's fine. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is the depths that we have to go to try to find something good.
I'm saying is that they felt it was better to go after a veteran in James Bradbury than it was to go after absolutely unproven rookies or second-year guys. It doesn't make any sense to me.
He's lost like 3 or 4 steps.
He did.
He's getting toasted by a slot receiver in Jackson Smith and Jigba for a touchdown. He's getting beat over the top at a jump ball by DK Metcalf. He's getting burnt on routes by DK Metcalf. That whole last drive, it was all at James Bradbury.
Yeah, and who's throwing the football? Oh, a second-string quarterback. And he's second-string to Geno Smith.
Exactly.
It's really hard to find anything.
I thank him for his service last year, and James Bradbury was a huge part of that team winning an NFC title and going to a Super Bowl. But I just have that Andy Reid-ish philosophy of that when you start doubling down on old guys, it doesn't make sense.
It's just annoying that everything the 49ers have said is just coming true. And it started with James Bradbury's trash, and then it's all falling apart at the seams.
Have you ever seen, Bob, a team, though, and this is odd, where a professional team is so put off by another professional team that they literally go on national television shows to try to expose it, embarrass them, make fun of them? I've never seen this. They did it at the Super Bowl last year. All the San Francisco 49ers guys that were down at the Super Bowl were trashing the Eagles going into the game. And then we've seen it all year long. They pick on the Eagles.
I'm sure it's happened many times that we don't really care about or notice because it's not the Eagles. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can't recall off the top of my head it happening to a Philadelphia team. Probably, though. I mean, there's been some people in the NBA that have said, Joel Embiid, he's not all that. But no, not to the degree, really, that you have it with this one. At first, when you, as a fan, you're looking at it and you say, yeah, they're jealous. Then it comes to, oh, my God, were they right? Brendan says, with Deebo Samuel coming out and saying that James Bradbury's trash. Wow, did he see something that we didn't see? His trained eye probably did. Christian McCaffrey going on there. Look, if he's watching the Jets and Saints and predicts something like that, it's said and it flies off into the wind like a fart. This time he says it, and it's about a team that's really struggling, a team that many said was the best team in football, and he's just showing you, yeah, okay, but look at this. I mean, you have Dan Orlovsky coming out and saying they run the same 3 or 4 plays every damn time. That's damning.
That's damning.
And you fired your defensive coordinator. It goes back to the question that I said Sunday morning on this show, on the Birds Extra show. If I would have called you at 8 o'clock Sunday morning, everyone out there listening, and said, I have a crystal ball, one of these coordinators is going to go, which one is it? I'll bet you it would have been at least 50-50. I asked Connor that day, and he said, no, I think it would have been more like 60-40 that Johnson would have gone.
I think it would have been 70-30. That Johnson would have been the answer you would have gotten.
It's just crazy. A 10-3 team, and either coordinator could get tossed out, and the fans would have been all right with it.
Because I think Frank Reich would have been in the back of everybody's mind.
And we can sit here all day. We're blaming James Bradbury himself. Brian Johnson's doing a lot less with a lot more. Like, we're not blaming the players on offense necessarily.
Exactly.
We're blaming the coaches.
I mean, Brian Johnson has the arsenal of players he has got. And when you hear Dan Orlovsky say they're running 3 or 4 plays over and over again, that's damning.
It's horrible. I mean, this is a guy that studies every team in the league. It's not like you're the next opponent where you're going to watch the Eagles all week long. How easy do you think it is for them when they're watching tape of the Eagles all week long? Orlovsky does every team in the NFL watches tape on all of them, and he got this out of the Eagles. They run the same 3 or 4 plays. It's damning as hell.
And then he proves it. Which is one of the things I like about it is Orlovsky will then go to the big board and show you, here's first quarter, here's third quarter, here's fourth quarter. There's no creativity to this offense. Brian Johnson is over his skis. He is way over his skis. He wasn't qualified for this job, and they found out about it the hard way. But something's got to be done. I mean, it may get done later on, but that's where it is. So. Now,
one thing Orlovsky said, which we have to also say, he said, unless those plays are carving you up, you have to be more dimensional, whatever. Those plays could have carved up. Like Jaylen Hurts missed wide open people a few times in that game. You know, they show running back plays sometimes where there are holes that are wide open to run through, and they don't do it. There's a miscommunication, a misread, I don't know what it is on the offensive side of the ball that maybe, just maybe, Brian Johnson's thought is, yeah, we're not playing well, so I have to
simplify.
Yes, simplify and be experts on these 3 or 4 plays that we're running.
Are we just not, though, used to – I think part of this whole just angst that this city is feeling this week about this football team, to me, is we're not used to being the lead dog. We enjoy putting on underdog masks and saying nobody believes in us, and we're not used to being the hunted as a fan base, and we're not handling it well. It's like the adversity hits, and it's like people are pouring for the exits just to run away. And I'm telling you, you will be back. I'm telling you right now. I believe it with all my heart. And I may end up looking stupid, and please hold me accountable if I do. But I'm telling you, you will be back. You'll be back in the bandwagon. You'll be back there saying, oh, yeah, they're going to win the wild card game. And then let's say it's the Lions coming in, you are not going to be calling this radio station going, yeah, the Lions are going to torch them. You're not. You're going to be back on. So I just ask, is that a little bit of balance here? Because I really do believe that is exactly what's going to happen. And I am not I'm not leaving anything to chance here. I'm saying it, and I'm saying it with my chest. And if I end up looking stupid, it won't be the first time, Brendan. So stop looking at me like I'm stupid.
I just think fans are fanatics, right? Like, they're going to go way low, way high with the team as it goes. So if they go on this 3-game winning streak to end the season, then I think a lot of people will be back, yes. But I think it's going to be a lot tougher than just, okay, show up at the link for 2 games and we're in the NFC Championship game.
You know my lifelong fandom, though, and you know me as a fan. I'm every bit a fan as any one of the other fans.
100%.
But I'm not. But I gotta believe that there's more people like me, but I don't believe it. Like I'm not believing it now. That there's more people who are that is overwhelmingly in the camp that you and Bob are talking about.
Because if you say they're going to lose and they win, then there's no repercussions. You're all just happy. If you say they're going to win and they lose, then you have to come back and eat those words.
Oh yes, and I'm saying it as emphatically as I ever could. I really do believe this season has a lot more to be told. And I believe there's going to be positives that everyone's going to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm more convinced now I'm back. Or they will convince themselves. Of course. And it's going to happen. So that's why I just think it's crazy to just go over the ledge now.
It's not. This team is forcing you to go over the ledge. They've been horrible their last 3 games.
Oh, they've been horrible.
Yeah, this is what fandom's about. It's exactly what fandom's about. You live and die with your team. You were the most hurt ever as a fan, John, when you walked out of Veterans Stadium when they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That was terrible.
You hated it. You hated the team, the organization, everything. You hated everything about it. But you're back.
I was pissed.
You were back the next year opening game where Sylvester Stallone's raising his arms and bringing in Lincoln Financial Field. That's what fandom is.
Oh, I guess I just look at it because it's not what I do. When I walked out that day, I was dejected. But I don't know. I guess I'm a little.
No, you were hurt to your core.
It was the worst loss ever. I have never gone into a game, Bob, where I've just said, a big game, where I've said, my team cannot lose. Like a big game. I walked into that building that day. I tailgated that morning. No way were they losing. None. There was no chance they were losing. And it ended up being one of the worst losses. It changed me as a fan forever. Hey, let's bring up one thing, and I know Brendan has brought it up in the sports updates. The Flyers beat the Devils in overtime last night, 3-2. You heard it right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. A 9-game point streak for the Flyers, which I would tell you again, and I'll raise my hand, and I'm a Flyers fan, I would never have believed that they would have gone this year with this roster, this year expectations, they would have gone on a 9-game point streak at any time. Here's even more impressive. In 9 games, the Flyers have allowed 19 goals. They're one of the top 5, like they're in like top 5, top 6 team in the NFL, in the NHL, excuse me, in goals allowed per game. This team is playing amazing defense. And Owen Tippett, who was the guy that you got in return when you got rid of Claude Giroux. I'll tell you, it's 25 or 27 goals last year. He's coming up. I'm excited. I've got to tell you. And at what point, I asked Connor the other day when you were out, Bob, at what point can we start to dream a little bit and say, damn, this team looks like they're going to stick around for a while. I'm like, at what point do you think fans can do that? Halfway? Because we're 10 games to the halfway point.
If you asked Tortorella this question, he would say, yeah, maybe next year, the year after. Not yet.
I think he absolutely would.
No, and it's a cool place to be, and it's one of my topics for later on. It's a cool place to be when you're just don't have expectations, or you're just looking at it in a different way and say, oh, whatever happens, happens, and if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, that's okay. Move on. It's a fun way to go through it.
And isn't that different as we bring up the conversation and round it back to the Eagles? Where the Eagles, any expectation of anything less than Las Vegas is failure.
Yeah, the expectation, the word is key.
And the Flyers, no expectation.
The Flyers go in there and they just find ways to win, right? And we're all happy with that. The Eagles, for the first 2 months of the season, just found ways to win, and we were not happy with it because the expectations are so much higher. And the Flyers are down low. So we're happy with them finding ways to win. Eagles, not so much.
You learned some things at Strathaven. You did. You really did.
2 things.
You learned 1 or 2 things. All right. We've got so much coming your way here on the John Kincade Show on this Wednesday morning as we will have Adam Schefter coming your way at 8 o'clock today. Cooney Claus is back. He's going to have Sixers versus Timberwolves tickets for tonight.
Ho, ho, ho! There it is. Bob Cooney Claus here.
It's Cooney Claus.
That's me.
He'll be back.
Yeah, and that's a really good game that you got going tonight. Minnesota's like 20-5. They're playing really well. And the fun thing about it is there's something with Karl Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid. They don't
like
love each other. Yeah.
What's any idea what it's about? Is it just
competition?
All on court? But is it just on court chat?
Yeah, there's probably some behind the scenes things that I don't know about that maybe others do. But Joel Embiid does get up playing against him. Karl Anthony Towns is a really good dude, like very articulate, very smart, nice kid, North Jersey boy. But yeah, Joel Embiid owns him. So it's going to be a fun watch tonight. I'm really looking for it. It was my happy thought this morning, John.
Sixers,
when I got up, it was my happy thought. That's something personal, but that also was like, all right, cool. Sixers, Timberwolves tonight. I'm going to build a fire, sit there, watch that game tonight.
20-5.
Yeah, 20-5. They're off to a really, really good start. Fun team.
Bob has questions about the Eagles' pass rush, and he's wondering why is it a silent night way too often. We'll get to it. See a Christmas pun there, Brandon. It's John Kincade.
Just because we didn't laugh didn't mean we didn't get it.
Yeah, John Kincade Show on 97.5. The Fanatic. Hey. Wednesday morning is off to a good start, at least we hope. If you join us here, John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, and we appreciate you. And the more you listen, the more you pick up your phone and use that app and carry that app with you all day long. So when you leave your car, you can hear us, or when you listen at 97.5thefanatic.com, or when you're part of our YouTube crew, we appreciate you guys being a part of things as we get rolling along again today. Eagles play Monday night again. It's strange. I keep thinking about Monday night on Christmas at 4:25. The defensive coordinator change got some chat yesterday. Jeff McClain joined Andrew Salchunas in middays, and he talked about his perspective on why the change was made and a little bit about what it means.
And I think it starts at the top. You know, if you're kind of making panic moves, and I'm not saying demoting Sean Desai wasn't justified. He wasn't doing a great job, but it still sends a message. It may send a message that, okay, everyone's got to be doing their jobs, otherwise they're going to get axed. Or it sends a message that we don't really trust the decisions that we've made, which is Nick Sirianni hiring Sean Desai. I mean, it's just a month ago, Desai was being hailed for shutting out Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the second half.
Interesting again. Jeff McClain, Zach Berman, and some others. Bob, they're very clear that Sean Desai was Nick Sirianni's choice.
Yeah,
they're there every day.
Oh, sure they are. Yeah, and they've been told it. And Sirianni comes out and says, "I did it." I've been told a lot of things. I'm not saying those guys are wrong. I'm just saying I'm very surprised if that's the case. Very surprised.
That he would have the clout to do that, you mean?
Yeah, you're going to let a second-year coach come in here and tell you, Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, who he's deciding is going to be his new coordinators? I'm still worried about him being, and yeah, he went to the Super Bowl last year. Yeah, the questions weren't abound about Nick Sirianni before. But you're smarter than that. You're an owner. You're a general manager in the NFL. You know that 2 years don't prove anything about a head coach. You just saw it with Doug Peterson with you guys, and he won you a Super Bowl. So if they're saying to him, yeah, go ahead and pick your own, well then, yeah, that's a real bad mark on Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman.
What if Howie Roseman, I thought of it this way. What if that was the choice of Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie signed off on it? Are they every bit as much to blame, or is the guy that brings him to the table and says, this is the guy I want, this has got to be the new DC? Like, the guys who sign off on it, are they equally to blame?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Anything that happens with this team, the ownership is to blame, the general manager is to blame. That's why you're in those positions. Now, Howie Roseman isn't calling plays, and it's not Howie Roseman's fault that Jason Kelsey decides to move a ball up and gets called for illegal procedure. But, any time decisions are made as far as a coaching front goes, yeah, it's Howie and Jeffrey Lurie's fault if they hired the guy and he wasn't fit to do it. It's their fault if they allowed Nick Sirianni to do it and the guy wasn't fit to do it. I'm sorry, I really don't. And I've followed sports a little bit in my life. I don't know of a second-year coach that would come in, first time ever coaching in the NFL, 40 years old, goes to his owner and GM and says, yeah, I got my two guys. And they say, oh, okay.
It doesn't seem like the way the Eagles have done.
I'd be surprised is all I'm saying, yeah.
And it doesn't seem like the way the Eagles have done business. So I wouldn't expect that that's the way it went down. It just seems like now we're hearing some things that we didn't hear before about this team. We're hearing some things and I got to say, did the cracks in the locker room just start? Because if they did, because it's the first time it's been reported on. It wasn't reported on in November, October, September. So if this is something that's been a big problem, it feeds to my point the other day that the 49ers broke this team. They broke them. They absolutely punked them on their home field, and it absolutely crushed their confidence and caused a bunch of people to start pointing fingers, because you cannot find me any discord in the locker room or stories from any of the writers from November to, October, September. There was none of that. In fact, it was never even hinted at. So it tells me that San Francisco game, Bob, had repercussions that are incredibly deep and that haven't been healed.
Well, yeah, when you're built up, when you're put on a pedestal and all that, and you get knocked down one time, you probably take it harder than if you're at the bottom of the ladder and you miss a ring.
Okay, yeah,
Or
you're
rung,
right.
or whatever it's called.
Rung or ring. Yeah.
So there was, I don't want to sound, there was really only one place to go for this Eagles team. And when they got to 10-1, not playing their best football, coming off a Super Bowl appearance the year before. And if we were smart enough to think it back then, it was down. You had a real tough schedule coming up. How were you going to handle it? Thought they couldn't lose 3 in a row. They go and do it. They get smashed. They beat themselves, lose to a team far inferior to them. And now this is all coming. So this is where you can say it's a great locker room and leadership galore when you're 14-3, when you're going to a Super Bowl. Of course, it's all roses and popsicles, all of those things. This is where you really find out, though. This is where you really find it's Mike Tyson all over again. You don't know anything till you get punched in the face. They're getting punched in the face.
Wait a minute, roses and popsicles.
Well, they both are nice, I guess, right?
I'm not a big popsiclesman.
I don't mind the popsicle. I don't consider that a sweet. I don't mind the popsicle.
So you don't consider
Good
it a
item.
sweet because you can do it with like a fresh juice.
It's water with like some flavoring.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say sunshine and lollipops, but
Popsicles,
Yeah,
lollipops, ponies, puppies, whatever floats your fancy.
floats your
Unicorns.
Isn't it floating a boat? I mean,
I'm
Bob's
all over the
creating
place
all
today.
these new things.
Eagles got him flustered.
I'm a wordsmith.
In the 7 o'clock hour, it's brought to you by the all-new Bet Parks app, sportsbook and casino in one sleek, easy-to-use app. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, and Ohio, all over the place. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's see what Tim in Bucks County has to say. Tim, good morning. You're on the Fanatic. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Tim.
Well, we've been better. I mean, Tim,
Yeah,
being honest with
obviously.
you.
Quick question. What do you guys think about A.J. Brown and him actually being a cancer in the locker room?
A cancer? What would you? I got to tell you, Tim. It's something that gripes me with it. That it's not. I'm not calling you out on it, but I'm just questioning on it. I hear callers all the time tell me about what's going on in the locker room.
Listen, I'm not saying that it's going on. I'm just saying that, and I'll take A.J. Brown any day. But his performance over the last 5 weeks or so has been pretty abysmal. And on top of it, I've seen him getting into Jaylen's face when the team is winning. Now, I saw also what he does when the team is losing. And I don't know if that causes a problem in the locker room. Again, he's very T.O.-like, and we know what T.O. did in the locker room.
See, I don't consider him T.O.-like.
Oh, yeah,
No,
he definitely is.
No, Tim, I really don't. I've never. First of all, just let's put it this way. Like last year, I've been around this year, and I get to go back on New Year's Eve. I'm very excited to be able to go back to the press box, go back into the locker rooms and things like that. I got to tell you that I never have observed anything like that at all with A.J. Brown. And I'm not around the team all the time like the guys who cover it, and I don't believe that's how he is.
But we did see that. You saw him blowing up when the Eagles were winning, right, on the sideline with Jaylen, where people had to calm him down. We've seen him blowing up when the team is losing. We know what kind of character he is, in terms of he wants the ball. If he's not getting the ball, if the team's not playing well, he's calling out the routes that are being called for him. I mean, again, if you're as good as you are and you're an all-pro, make your own route. Like Bob said, players are players, and it's not just always the coaches.
Bob, where do you go? Let Bob respond.
Yeah, I haven't heard as much as you're describing, Tim, about him. Yeah, I've seen him animated on the sidelines.
Yes.
I don't mind that. The players have come out and said they don't mind it. He had a quote after the game that was pretty good, I thought. He said, yeah, we're frustrated, but we have to keep moving. He didn't come out and say, I don't know what the hell's happening here. Now, Tim, I don't know if you saw, he put something on social media that was getting a little, what was that? Because I couldn't find it last night.
He started saying some stuff in regards to, I believe it was the play calling. I read it yesterday, but I forget. But before I go, one thing. Antonio Brown was on the Steelers for many years and kept under wraps by Mike Tomlin, but people actually found out how he truly was after he left the Steelers. So I'm just saying, a team can do very well at keeping something under wraps. That doesn't mean that there isn't stuff going on underneath.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. I don't see Antonio Brown to A.J. Brown.
There's no correlation.
I don't see any parallels there.
It's something that always drives me crazy. And Bob, it's like, whether it's going into the Phillies clubhouse 10 times a year or something like that. I don't consider myself that I know anything about what goes on in that clubhouse or locker room for the most part. except what you hear from people who are in there every single day. Yet I hear fans all the time tell me about, well, they're ruining the clubhouse and or in the locker room, and they have no idea. They have like none.
As far as the A.J. Brown tweet goes that you guys were asking about, somebody tweeted at him asking about why is he always the first read on every single play? Why is Jaylen Hurts keyed in on him? Because he didn't throw it to Devontae Smith on that wide open thing. And A.J. Brown said, sometimes I am the decoy. If I caught that ball, then you guys there'd be no complaints about that. He just missed the throw on that one.
Yeah. Okay. Look, I've been in many, many locker rooms throughout the years. I could say I know the locker room, but I'd be lying.
Yes.
I mean, those guys are very guarded about the way they act in front of you when the media is there. I told you about one instance that I saw through 25 years of a player telling another player to shut the F up and sit down. And, once.
Right.
One, you're talking about hundreds, perhaps thousands of times that I was in locker rooms.
Right.
And once sticks out in my head of a player calling out another player to shut up and sit down. So, yeah, we're not going to know the ins and outs of relationships just being in a locker room. You're just not.
I hear people in our business talk about the clubhouse or the locker room, and I've never seen them at games. And they talk about it. It's like they know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. And I've worked for pro sports teams and been in the locker room for various seasons every single day to do my job. And I didn't feel like I really knew because they weren't showing me. Or when it's open to the public, they're not showing you what's really going on. I mean, it's and fans just tend to talk about, well, in the clubhouse, it's a problem right now. You have no freaking clue. You don't. And you can hear things, but you don't know unless you experience it. I've got one here for you, though, that I got to tell you, I'm a little upset. As far as, not upset in a bad way, but just upset that this is coming out. Jeff McClain is talking about it in clip number 6. Brendan, I want people to be able to hear this first to set it up. Brandon Graham, and you brought it up earlier in the 6 o'clock hour, Brendan. Brandon Graham going out there and questioning blaming the media for Sean Desai being replaced is really, to me, absolutely ridiculous, absurd, and I'm honestly shocked that BG would do that. He's smarter than that. He knows Sean Desai wasn't replaced because the fans wanted it, because the fans called for it. He was replaced because he was incompetent to do the job. And Brandon Graham should know that firsthand from watching him work and watching the results. Jeff McClain talked about this yesterday with Andrew Salchunas in Middays.
Brandon Graham oddly said to me, I had him alone for a period and said something about how this is Deshaun's emotion was media driven. I'm not sure what he meant by that. I followed up and asked him, and he said that, with people calling for his head and the outside criticism, that is the decision that was made. But it tells me that the locker room is allowing the outside noise and criticism to seep through. And look, I get it. Playing in Philadelphia is difficult. But there was a reason why there was criticism, or it was pointed out that 10-1 team wasn't playing like a 10-1 team. We have seen since then that those criticisms and those concerns have been justified.
Again, Bob, you've been around day to day, many more locker rooms. I ask you, this is a red flag, a giant red flag. And when a veteran leader does it, I got to tell you, I think it's pretty bad. I think it's bad form.
Bad, strong. I would say surprising. I'm surprised, especially with the relationship that Brandon Graham has with the media, for him to go there. I don't look at professional teams to answer to media. If you do, well, then you're in a bad spot right now. You should be answering to yourself, to your owner, to the things that you have core belief in. If anything is driven by fans or media, man, you're not in a good spot and maybe not the right spot. I look at the Sean Desai thing as something needed to change in their eyes. What was it? You can't fire players. You don't have enough depth to change things defensively as far as the players go. They decided to do that. I don't think, and to be honest, were Desai and Brian Johnson and the players and the head coaches all questioned during this little run? Yeah, everybody. I don't think there was an absolute, axes are drawn and let's get Sean Desai. I didn't feel that from media, fans, or anybody else.
And you said yesterday, Brendan, you thought Brian Johnson takes more bullets, like verbal bullets, on a daily basis.
All season long, I think Brian Johnson has been the basis of a lot of complaints, more
than
so
Desai,
than
I would
Desai
agree.
for sure. But as far as the media goes, the media doesn't allow 11 straight touchdown drives. The media isn't the reason the defensive line isn't getting home like they did last year. The media is not getting burnt for a touchdown with 56 seconds left in the game. Like, you can't blame the media for getting your defensive coordinator fired. That's on you guys.
All right, Rick in Easton joins us on The Fanatic. Good morning, Rick.
You know, gentlemen, the more and more I hear, and I expected to hear this, the last 2 days on all the talk shows, it's becoming apparent for the first time in 2 years to me that Sirianni, I hope I'm wrong, is starting to lose this team. And when that happens, like it happened with Andy Reid when he had to go, that spells disaster. If they don't win these next 3 games and win them convincingly to go into the playoffs hot, this team is in a lot of trouble. And I'm going to tell you something. The offensive and defensive lines have both appeared to me to lose their focus and their drive and desire to win and dominate. Right now, and again, I hope I'm wrong, here's my 4 lists of teams that could possibly win a championship. Here's my percentage. You should throw this out to the audience and see what they say. I got the Phillies first. I got the Flyers second, the way they're playing. I got the Sixers third because they can't get past the second round, and I have the Eagles last.
Rick,
I never thought I would say that.
Rick, I love you, but you're nuts. You're absolutely, you are nuts. You are certifiably like the guys are coming to put the straitjacket on you. The Eagles being 4th likely to win a championship to me is just crazy. I love you. Have a good holiday. I think that's crazy talk. And first of all, the Flyers are not close to winning a cup. And the Sixers have a ton to prove. They haven't got out of the second round in 22 years. They got a lot to prove, but I'm enjoying the product. Come on. Sixers do not have a better chance to win the NBA title than the Flyers do to win they do better than the Flyers, but not better than the Eagles to win a championship. Eagles are one of the 5 best teams in the NFL, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, and even if they falter short this year, they're still in position to come back next year and be one of the strongest contenders in the NFC.
I think that's where Rick might have been looking. Okay, if you lose your 2 defensive backs, if you lose Lane Johnson, if you lose Jason Kelsey,
it could be a rebuild-ish sort of thing.
Yeah, you might not have a running back. You're going to have to go out and get one. Because wasn't Swift a 1-year deal?
Yeah, it's a 1-year deal.
There's
the last year of his deal.
Yeah, there's other places that there's going to be a lot of holes to fill. Who's your linebackers? You're probably going to lose Fletcher Cox. You're probably going to lose Brandon Graham. I understand what Rick is saying. Forget comparing to the other teams. And I don't like to look too far into the future. But if you're going to do that, there's probably more questions than answer in the future for the Eagles right now.
Bob's going to have a deep dive, by the way, into his opinion on the pass rush coming up. Chris in Allentown, though, gets a word in. Chris, good morning. You're on The Fanatic.
Good morning, guys. I'm a little bit more calmer today. I'm feeling a little bit better about things.
Good, I'm glad.
I'm prying the nail out of the coffin a little bit.
All right. Now, where are you today?
Well, like with Brian Johnson and Desai, like that whole conversation, I think Desai coming in, I mean, we lost Devontae Maddox right away. We lost TJ Edwards, Kaiser White, CJ Gardner. We lost all these players, and we kind of wanted to give him a chance to kind of, I mean, you got a brand new team out there pretty much, minus a couple of the veterans and Jordan Davis. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I sat back and was like, I can't judge the guy because he has nothing to work with.
Well,
now, Brian Johnson,
yes,
on the other hand, has the same damn offense that was here last year, and he could barely put up 17 points on the Seattle Seahawks.
And you watch what Shane Steichen's doing in Indianapolis with his backup quarterback since week 3.
It's a beautiful thing. It really is what he's doing. But Brian Johnson, like Jaylen Hurts' regression, where does that come from? That has to come from coaching.
Or accountability. That Shane Steichen was
yes.
Right. I mean, that could be.
I can't yell at my buddy's kid. I can't give him slack. I mean, I've known him since he was 5.
Yeah.
Or whatever age it is. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't want to, I'm not trying to call for somebody's job, but I mean, when Christian McCaffrey is sitting there on Monday Night Football calling out our plays, it says something.
It's dangerous. It is dangerous. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Chris.
It's not good. That's not good.
Yeah,
but I agree though with him about the point about your family with this guy. You've said he's family. By the way, that is a quote that Jaylen Hurts has said. He's family. Brian Johnson. That's not right. There's something wrong with that. You cannot treat as you're coaching somebody, you can't tell me that you can be, I'm going to be in his face and I'm going to be tough. Shane Steichen.
Are you kidding?
I don't believe it at all.
I'm not going to yell at your kid, but I'm going to yell at mine.
Yeah, but
that's family.
But it's not. The performance certainly doesn't look like theirs is.
I don't know if he's in. I don't know. If you're saying he doesn't get in Jalen's face or doesn't correct him hardly because they're friends, because they've known each other forever, that's ridiculous in my like I said. There's nobody I would get on more for making a mistake than my kids, than my family. I'm not going to yell at an unknown quicker than I'm going to yell at my own blood. So I don't mind that he's found. I took it as good. He'll give him the tough love.
Don't you'd be more able to use a bad example of somebody that you're close to, right? You can make them the example in front of the classroom if you have a better relationship with them because you're not going to be fearful of it going sideways.
I think it's very strange. I don't think there's a ton of, okay, the word of, I'm not saying nepotism, but Brian Johnson was a quick riser. And he's tied directly to the quarterback of this team. And this team's the one that gives him the big opportunity. It's very comfortable. It's very comfortable. You're more comfortable.
Yeah, I just think he was the natural selection. Like, you had the best offense in the NFL last year, the best offense in team history, and he was kind of just the next guy in line.
But you turned it over to a guy who's never done the job.
I think Schefter was on the show earlier.
Nick Sirianni never did the job. Doug Peterson never did the job. Yeah, they've had a good fortune with that. Andy Reid never did the job. They've had good fortune with hiring guys like that.
Wasn't Schefter on in the beginning of the season and said if the Eagles didn't hire him, he was probably going to go somewhere else as an offensive coordinator? Yeah,
that doesn't mean he's good. It just means that it's somebody that
was a hot name at the time.
A hot name. There's a lot of hot names. Brady in Buffalo, who had some success now as their offensive coordinator. He's gone twice to different organizations. He was a hot name. I mean, the hot name doesn't mean jack to me. It's the idea of the results. Hey, Bob wants to look at the pass rush, and God knows we have to. John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic. The best Christmas gift that you can give her is a gift that you can also give yourself. It's a gift
Philadelphia.
Wednesday morning, John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Adam Schefter joins us at 8. We don't know when Cooney Claus is going to jump in on the action, but Cooney Claus has got tickets to the Sixers and Timberwolves tonight. Two of the better teams in the NBA going at it right there in South Philly, and Cooney Claus is going to send you.
That's right.
We just don't know when.
Yeah,
He's unmanageable, Cooney Claus. There's no rules. You don't worry about it. I got the tickets. I stole them from Stacy's office. I've got the tickets. So we're ready to go. We'll find out what Cooney Claus has got. Someday be listening today, and you'll find out when you are winning. Bob, the pass rush last year was the signature of the Eagles' run to the Super Bowl, as was an exquisite offense.
Yeah.
Not so much this year.
Well, it's funny. Tyrone makes this case all the time, and it's a good one. That people that are looking for the pass rush, it's hard to get it when you don't have a lead. When you have a lead, you know the other team has to throw the ball to catch up. You can pin your ears back. You can go for it. If you let up a run of 10, 15 yards, does it really hurt you? You're holding on to the lead anyway. So he makes a good point. Very compelling point, makes you think. Well, they had exactly that. And this is nothing against Tyrone at all. It's against the Eagles. They had exactly that with 1:52 to go, and Seattle's sitting on their 8-yard line the other night with one timeout, I believe. Did not even get close to getting to Drew Lock. Not even close.
Not even causing him great sweat.
Yeah, I didn't notice a blitz. I'm going to go back and rewatch the game this afternoon. I didn't notice a blitz. I didn't notice any stunts, any games, anything like that where ends are coming up the middle and the fatties are holding on to two blockers so that the ends can get where they want to go. Didn't see any linebackers creeping up to the line of scrimmage to try to put some pressure on Drew Lock. It's a serious, serious problem. And I don't know what kind of defense. I'm going to, like I said, when I rewatched the game today, that Matt Patricia was drawing up in those final 10 plays that went 92 yards and got you the win if you're Seattle. I don't know what was going on there, but I know James Bradbury turned into Isel Jenkins all of a sudden.
And Dan Orlovsky said afterwards, breaks it down and says the Eagles were in the incorrect defense all the time on that final drive. Like, doesn't know what they were doing on the final drive. And look, yes, no matter what anybody wants to tell me, the defense was better on Monday night. The defense looked better. Your eye test. If we all talk about eye test has become a big thing that's been discussed about this Eagles team. The eye test showed you they were a better team on Monday night than they've been. They were able to get teams off the field on third down more than we've seen in weeks.
But Matt Patricia was put in a good spot here. All right, he's made the defensive coordinator when you have a list of games coming up that's Seattle, Arizona, and the Giants twice.
Absolutely.
Well, if you don't look a little bit better defensively than you did against San Francisco and the Cowboys specifically, the most recent games, well, then there's something seriously wrong. Did it look a little bit better? Yeah, and as I said to you yesterday, I like that when I looked at my TV, I could see 11 defensive players on my screen as opposed to safeties drifting back into the next county. But when it
like country at times.
It all came down to it, though, you needed a stop against a second-string quarterback that had to go 92 yards and get a touchdown to beat you, and you couldn't stop it.
I still can't believe, honestly, that I cannot believe in that situation that a wide receiver got behind them. Like, it's just so dumb.
Maybe he needed the guy out of the screen on that one.
Yeah,
right? Good
no,
call.
it is. And it is the truth, is that I just can't believe that ever happened in that situation. That is so poor. It's just the last thing you're going to do is let somebody behind you. And
I mean, the bread and butter of this defense is the defensive line, and they didn't get home on that final drive at all. And we've been sitting here complaining, they haven't been in these pass-only situations. Well, guess what? That was a pass-only situation, and you didn't get home.
It was. They had an opportunity there. If you want to share a thought on it, you can at 610-632-0975. I mean, the idea that when you watch that game, I watched the shorter version of that game again yesterday, and it is extremely frustrating how that goes. But there were when they started on their own 8-yard line, I'll raise my hand. I did not think Seattle was scoring a touchdown to win the game. I really didn't. Not until the DK Metcalf third down catch where he's double teamed and somehow he manages to just completely punk the Eagles defense. Up to that point, absolutely not.
No,
I did not think they were giving up that lead.
The touchdown comes on a 3rd and 10 play. I saw somewhere where Bradbury said he was playing sticks more so, but he was in man coverage, so he shouldn't have taken that chance. First downs, they have 2 plays to get 10 yards, and you're going to look to take that away and get beat deep. It's just not smart football.
Yeah, I mean, it's
really not.
It really was poorly done. And again, if that was Sean Desai still in the job, we'd be crushing Sean Desai for it. So Matt Patricia deserves the same critique. But I don't necessarily think he's ever going to get it. That it's ever going to go that way, because I think people are just so glad to see Desai gone. But again, I would say, and it's something that we talked about, and your question from Sunday morning continues to haunt on Wednesday morning, is if I had heard Sunday morning, I do believe I would have gone Desai, but I would have thought big time about Brian Johnson and saying, wait a minute, did Frank Reich change his mind? Is Frank Reich wanting to help run this offense?
Yeah, I was surprised you said Desai, because most of your all-year stuff has been Desai's doing decent with not many players, and why is Brian Johnson not getting it done with the cast of characters that he has? So I thought for sure that you would lean the other way.
I look at more on, though, Bob, the last couple games, where that San Francisco game, that defense was it was so horrendous. And I think that the 2 biggest games of the year, the defense was so horrendous, it was a recency bias on my part.
Well,
it's complete.
You didn't have recency bias against a team that went down twice and got field goals, the offense to begin the game, and then didn't even score a touchdown against Dallas?
Bob, I'm going to tell you, when it was 6-0 in that game and I'm sitting there in the stands, I'm going, okay, I wasn't too disgusted. Like, I was like, damn, missed opportunity. You want to get a touchdown at one of those points. But 1/3 of the way through that game, the 49ers are shut out and the Eagles are rolling and had 2 really impressive drives that ended up in field goals. But still, to me, I was going, man, I feel pretty good about this. I never saw the floor falling out like that. I really didn't. If you had told me at that point, if we had a time machine, you said, here's what's going to happen in this game. The Eagles are going to give up 6 touchdowns on 6 possessions in a row. I would have said, bull. They're dominant. They're 1/3 of the way through this game. 49ers don't have a point, and they're dominating them. And then that pass rush stopped getting home.
Yeah.
It got home early in that game, and then Kyle Shanahan just said, okay, we'll go to the quick release. Everybody else can get rid of the ball fast except for Jaylen Hurts.
Where's the slant pass been to A.J. Brown over the last, 3 weeks after it worked a couple of times early against San Francisco? Gone. Jet sweep, I've talked about endlessly, where they had a really cool design early in the year where you had Gainwell in the backfield. You had Swift out in the slot, and he comes across and takes a sweep and takes it for 8, 12, 14 yards, whatever it was. You saw some ingenuity a little bit at the beginning of the game the other night, and then nothing. And then it became what Dan Orlovsky said. Same 3 or 4 plays.
The one thing I would ask, though, too, is that every single game, when you hear the broadcasters talk about what the Philadelphia Eagles have, they talk about them having one of the greatest weapons at his position in Dallas Goedert. Yet the Eagles don't treat him that way. The Eagles treat Dallas Goedert as just a safety valve. They don't treat him as when they had Zach Ertz. They treated Zach Ertz as a weapon, as a main target, as a critical part of the offense. I do not believe the Eagles that under Brian Johnson appear to look at in any way at Dallas Goedert being a real weapon. It's more like he's an afterthought.
Well, Zach Ertz didn't have the wide receivers that Goddard has surrounding him, so I understand him being a third option in the passing game. But, yeah, there's been times where Goddard's been the featured guy and has come through and been really good. I don't know why you can't have that balance of Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown pretty much get open, almost all the time, and you still have Dallas Goedert there. It goes back to the quarterback. It just does. We can talk coordinators all we want, but we saw it on tape. There were guys open. There were bad throws. 2 weeks ago, he made good throws, and there were some drops, but inexcusable that you're forcing balls and making plays, and all you need is chunk yardage, and you're trying to go for home runs. A lot of it falls on the quarterback.
Brian Baldinger really brings it to light on Twitter, where he breaks down just 3 critical plays where he shows you what Jaylen Hurts did the other night. And Jaylen Hurts missed wide open safety valves. Wide open. Nobody within 5 yards of them. Just throw the ball to them, move the chains, get on it when he chooses to go deep. And then also, too, where he vacates the pocket, a perfectly clean pocket. And he vacates it way too early. And that, to me, seems like Jaylen Hurts has gone back to happy feet. And that's bothersome to me.
Yeah.
I thought we were past that. I thought that was something we were past.
It shows a sign of what? Insecurity, of lack of confidence, of trying to make something. You got to trust yourself. You had a great season last year. You threw balls over the middle. You threw to the outside. You used your weapons well last year. Trust that again. And it doesn't seem to be that trust, whether it's in himself or his players. I don't know what it is, but something is seriously off with this offense.
And doesn't Jaylen Hurts to you, and is it just me? And if you want to jump in, you can at 610-632-0975 on this. I think Jaylen Hurts looks like a grumpy Gus. Looks like a mopey dog, sitting there with a mopey face, sitting there with a hunched shoulder. I hate Jaylen Hurts' body language right now.
Well, he did that when they were successful, too.
Yeah, but the body language now is slump shoulders, which I used to call, back in the day, I would say with Eli, when he was having a bad game, it was bitter beer face. Eli would walk off the field and be taking his chin strap and just looking confused or looking sort of pissed, like what the hell's going on here? I sort of feel the same way with Jaylen right now. It's that there's such a negative vibe about how his energy is. And if it's my leader and I'm getting that negative vibe out of him, how am I following that?
I don't have to follow. I'm a professional athlete. I don't have to follow what I don't care. Perform out there. He takes pride in keeping an even keel. He'll throw a touchdown pass and walk to the sideline, sit down, and not change an expression on his face. He'll go to the sideline after throwing an interception and not change an expression. Doesn't talk to anybody, sits there. That's his MO. If I see him shaking his head on the sideline, I'm saying, yeah, we do suck right now. I'm shaking my head too. I don't feed off of other people the way I think some people think is needed in sports. I got to do my job. You do your job. Facial expressions and all that doesn't really get to me.
Well, you warned me. You said during the year, Bob said it earlier this year, the things we like about the calm, cool, collected, not doing anything on the sideline, Jaylen Hurts, are going to be the same things we don't find endearing when things aren't going well. And you warned this. You didn't say it was going to happen, but you did say, if it happened, that the same things would be treated as a negative.
Yeah, his comments are cute when you're winning, and they're, he's not saying anything, but you say it with a smile on your face. Then when he does it after losses, you get pissed off.
Yes.
Because that's what a fan base does, and that's where we are right now. And you're talking about his face on the sideline.
Well, I just feel like I guess I'm looking at it as if Jaylen doesn't show that he has confidence and sort of swagger, he is the leader of the offense. He's the guy who touches the ball on every play. And if he looks like droopy dog on the sideline, I'm not feeling good about it. I'm just not feeling good about it. Not that should influence how everybody else does their jobs.
No, if I'm a player, I go over and I smack him on the ass and I say, let's go. Let's go. Pick yourself up. Let's go. We got to get this righted. We got to get this corrected. You're the biggest part of that. That's all. The mopiness, whatever. They should be moping right now because they stink.
I hate that on the. I just hate seeing that on the side, on the sideline. I'm not a big fan of that. That is to me always I expect somebody to. If you are an even keel guy, it looks like he's pissed off right now. Marcus,
shouldn't he be?
Yeah, but you don't have to. You can keep that and during the course of a game, show a little. I think show a little more resilience. Hey, Marcus is on the sideline. Marcus, good morning. You're on the Fanatic. How are you, buddy?
Good morning, guys. How you doing today?
Good to hear from you.
Good. Hey, this over this last season, what I've really noticed a lot with Hurts, if you look at it, I don't think he stepped up in the pocket once this year. All he does is anytime there's any kind of pressure, he either rolls out left or he rolls out right.
You're not lying. You're not lying. That's the truth.
To me, personally, that to me says that he doesn't read coverage well. He looks for one target. If it's not there, then he's just looking to make an option play downfield, which to me against good defenses is very concerning, because I feel like as you play against better and better defenses, you need to be able to find that second and third option, and I feel like Hurts is just lacking that.
Yeah, well, right now it's clear that that's happening, Bobby.
Yeah, I don't know why, Marcus. You make a great point, and some of the experts showed it. Clean pocket around him. What do you want? You want that smiley face of a pocket. You're behind it. You got the nice little loop around you. If you can step 1-2 feet up and make your zing, make your throw, your read, all of that, it's right there for you. And, yeah, numerous times throughout the season, Marcus is right. There's been times on tape where guys show it and say, what is he singing? Like he's allowing the pocket to sing louder than it is. And it's not collapsing as quickly as he thinks it is.
No, it's like,
is that a trust factor on your line?
Really? Like he's got one of the best offensive lines in football. And he's having a trust factor. I mean, if he's having a trust factor, Bob, I don't trust Jaylen at that point.
Yeah.
Because to me, then Jalen's the one who's misreading the situation. He's the one who isn't, really monitoring what was truly going on there. And that's disappointing. That's disappointing. Regression is a disappointment, because it's one thing that it wasn't on my Eagles bingo card this year. Regression. I didn't see it. And maybe that's foolish on my part, considering everything that they were losing and everything they did. There is one thing I'd like to point out, though, is that they did lose players on defense. Okay? They did. But also, too, I'd like to point out, they made the decision to lose CJGJ. They made the decision to lose Edwards. There were decisions that they made that they chose to be in. They made their bed. And to me, that's something that is part of this. You can't just say we lost these players. They lost players because they made the choice too.
Yeah.
And that's on Howie Roseman. That falls to Howie's responsibility. That's got to happen. That they got to be better at that. So some of the stories we're getting into this morning, and so many people wanting to still vent on the Eagles, and you can at 610-632-0975. But it is a strange thing as we go into Giants week here. And I saw where Tommy Cutlets was out yesterday, after his agent tried to shake down the deli or wherever he goes to try to get $20,000 out of them. He showed up at no cost and did a appearance yesterday.
Good move by him.
Yeah, it is a good move.
Got a stern talking to by his mom.
Well,
That's right.
I can't wait to.
Didn't make his bed. She was so pissed.
Mom said seriously.
Doing your laundry for a week.
And you are not bringing girls home. You are not bringing girls home, Tommy. I can't wait till Monday night when they just tattoo him into the turf. And I believe they will. I want to see him. And I want to see Mom run out from the sidelines and be like, stop picking on my boy. Because they're going to crush the Giants. They're going to kick the Giants' backsides on Monday night. It'll be the Christmas miracle for those of you who've already jumped off the bandwagon. Adam Schefter at 8:00 coming your way, plus plenty more. And Bob, a little bit on this Sixers Timberwolves matchup coming up. John Kincade Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Up. Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
I can't wait to see how surprised Adam Schefter is that things have sort of unraveled around this Eagles team. We'll get to that in just a few moments when the NFL's premier insider joins this show. The John Kincade Show here on 97.5, The Fanatic, comes your way. And again, you never know when Cooney Claus is going to strike. He's got tickets to tonight's game, the Sixers and the Timberwolves, in a game, Bob, that this will be an interesting matchup for the Sixers.
Yeah, you have a hot Western Conference team in Minnesota. They're 20-5 so far on the season. Sixers coming off a, little disheartening loss the other night when they didn't play their best. Their offense, they were kind of running in mud a little bit, I thought, the other night. So Embiid was questionable with a hamstring, whether it's really there or not, or that slowed him down too. He only had 40 points the other night in four full
Only
quarters.
40, yeah.
So, I think tonight's a really good test. And we talked about Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns, and there's been scrums throughout the years with those two, and I think Embiid plays well against him. So tonight's going to be a fun game.
A lot of trash talk between the two of them.
Yeah.
Which is fun. I mean, that is I think these are fun when you get to see, you get to see a matchup like that.
Yeah, and you know what there was a time when Embiid went at it with him and Ben Simmons came to his rescue. No, I shouldn't say rescue, but came over and jumped in the fray and said, I always have your back. I always have your back. I love that. I thought that was cool at the time. Simmons ultimately had nobody's back. But in a guy like Marcus Morris, Patrick Beverly, you have other guys that are going to have his back also.
Sure.
So the chippiness stuff doesn't worry me at all. I want to see a good game again tonight from the Sixers and hope that the other night was just a little anomaly in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, Minnesota's a team that's been sniffing around being relevant, and now they are looking like at least a third of the way through the season pretty much that they want to stick around.
Yeah.
And be in this mix.
Yep.
And the Sixers better than last year. 4 games ahead of last year's pace. It's just all I'll tell you. 4 games ahead, and the schedule I think's been a little favorable. And they play the Timberwolves tonight. They'll play Toronto on Friday. And I got to imagine Nick Nurse would enjoy laying another big loss on Toronto. I wonder if there's anything about that. Like he sort of feels,
oh God, yeah.
Like it's time to move on. But they sort of talked about it like it was time to move on for both of them.
Yeah, but you still want to beat. It's like I talked about family earlier. Who do you want to beat the most? The people that you know the most, the best, that you love the best. You know, when it comes to competition, man, that's who you want to. That's who you want to take it to. So sure, it doesn't mean there's animosity. It doesn't mean anything like that. I could play my best friend in a game of basketball. I want to beat him. Doesn't mean I don't like him. It means I just want the upper hand in that competition there. Yeah.
By the way, so Derek sends this email along, and Derek goes, I don't understand the whole we don't know what's going on in the locker room thing. And I'm going to quote Derek's email. I don't need to be in the locker room to know what's going on in the locker room. Enough people talk about it. You heard Bob talk about it. You heard me talk about it. And we're people who get to go in a locker room. I know that, look, I was at the 2022 Phillies. I was in that clubhouse like 8-10 times last year over the course of the year. I don't know what's going on in that clubhouse, and I've gone in it and talked to players and talked to coaches and said hello and had conversation. I don't know what the hell's going on in there.
It's funny people draw conclusions about what's going on in the locker room from things that are very much outside the locker room, like Twitter complaints and stuff like that. It's not in the locker room. It's literally outside of it.
I mean, it's one of the things. And Bob lived in locker rooms as far as that. He didn't actually live. He went home to Donna and the kids. But, I mean, it's like people assume that they know what's going on in a locker room. You don't. You don't know. And I don't know. So I'm not saying to you, I know something you don't know. I'm telling you this, you do not know. Because if we don't know, you don't know, is all I'm going to tell you. Is that you can go in a locker room, you can visit a couple times a year, and you still would know nothing about what's going on in there. Because when the doors are closed, there's a different politics. There's a different chain of command. And we may know nothing about this Eagles team. And I did have one member of the Eagles press corps check in and said, that the A.J. Brown caller couldn't have it more wrong. That A.J. Brown, yes, I'll tell you, I'll read the text. Yes, he's volatile. Yes, he can sometimes come off as a me guy, but he is certainly not looked at that by teammates. So take it for what it's worth. And this is somebody who I know is in the locker room at times. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's like, look, the building's on fire, but there's a chance that the fire can be put out. We're hoping the fire can be put out as we get to it. Hey, Landis Block and Concrete will create your own jaw-dropping backyard paradise right along with you and your plans online at landisbc.com. They are proud to bring you Adam Schefter every single Wednesday on the show. And we'll go live to the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day in business is a big day, and Comcast Business gets you ready for what's next. As Adam joins us, Adam, we're thrilled to have you. And I got to ask you right off the bat, because it's one of the number one things, how shocked are you to see what appears to be an unraveling Eagles team?
What's amazing is I went online to just see some of the comments after the game, and I cannot believe the vitriol, anger, and Jaylen Hurts. Are you really? Wow. I guess I'm missing something at the entire team. It's just there's so much negativity surrounding it. I know they've lost 3 in a row, but let me just say this, that every team goes through a rough stretch like this. The 49ers, a month ago, lost 3 games in a row, bounced back, and now they're the best team in football. The Los Angeles Rams, when they won the Super Bowl, lost 3 straight games at this time of the year and bounced back. And I just cannot believe how reactionary. I get it, but it's just a little excessive and over the top to me. That's the world we live in. But let's see how it plays out. I'm not trying to say that everything's going to work out great and they're going to bounce. But they've had a good season so far, and they're in the middle of a slump that has exposed some issues that they're trying to address. And they're playing flawed football right now, and they're not playing good football, and they're making dumb mistakes. But, geez, I mean, they're probably still going to win the division. They're probably going to play a home playoff game.
Or two.
What are we doing here? We're attacking everybody.
I think it's a product, Shefty. It's funny. We'll all say it's a product of the last 3 games, right? You get blown out, you play horrible against Dallas, and then this past game. But I think on the fan side of it, after 10-1, we labeled it here on the radio station. I labeled it here as a yeah-but season. Yeah, they're 10-1, but the defense isn't getting to the quarterback. But the offense doesn't look as good as it used to be. But so there's kind of I hear what you're saying exactly, and I brought that point up also. But there's also that through 10-1, the record was great, but the team didn't look like expectations that fans had.
And all season, we all would agree, they haven't looked like we thought the Eagles would look like. And it's December 20th, and there are 3 games left. And there are teams that turn it up right now and hit their stride at the postseason, and teams that don't. Right now they haven't. That doesn't mean they won't. But before we're attacked, I cannot believe some of the Jaylen Hurts comments that I read online. It was unbelievable.
I'm going to tell you, Adam, it's and I led the show with it today. I said, look, the bandwagon, I'm still sitting in my seat, and I'm ready for a playoff ride. And I think that it's going to fill up very quickly again, because I do believe this is a bad bump in the road. But I also believe the San Francisco 49ers loss may have caused a chasm as far as within the fan base and potentially within a very noisy locker room now, where there's a lot of stuff coming out of the locker room.
Okay, and let me also say this. Okay, they made a change on the defensive side of the football that they believe and others think will help that team in the long term. So they make that change for Monday night's game against Seattle, and they go out and play a game where they probably should have won that game. Okay, now, they didn't. They blew the game. Let me be very clear. They gave up a 94-yard drive to a quarterback who's trying to establish himself in the league, and they lost. Okay? So it's an ugly, bad loss. But let me for a moment, I know this is not the way the world works, but if they had not allowed that drive and they picked off a pass at the start of that drive that was in their hands at one point, and they didn't hold on to, and they stopped Seattle when they should have, and they didn't, then you'd be talking about this team right now, one-game lead for first place. They made a change at defensive coordinator. Defense played a little better, showed a little life. We're moving in the right direction. But there was the big setback at the end of the game, and this league is such a result of ultimately the end result. So whatever the end result is, even if there are little signs of progress, that dominates the conversation for the week and sets the narrative. And they lost, so they're going to get ripped. And that's the way it is.
So on the fan side of it, Schefter, like the but that I was talking about, you bring up a great point. If that would have happened, the Eagles could have won the game. Eagles fans also look at it, the but part of it is, if Valdez-Scantling, if he doesn't drop that wide-open pass, they lose to the Chiefs. If the Bills don't have a receiver turn the wrong way, they lose to the Bills. If Dak Prescott doesn't step out of bounds in what looks like a clear touchdown, they'll probably lose to the Cowboys. So I think that's why the reaction that you're seeing is happening. I think it's all built together like that.
Well, but here's the thing. That's how the National Football League is. And again, I just always think that it's always amusing and entertaining to me that the entire week's narrative is spent on whether Jackson Smith and Jigba reels in that pass, whether the defender drops the interception. Like there's so much conversation built off the one ending. It just sets the narrative for everything. And it's not a complaint. I'm just pointing it out. This team is still, in my mind, the second best team in the NFC right now. The second best team. So you roll the dice, you take your chances, and you see what happens in the NFC. Now, it looks like they're going to have to win in San Francisco. It looks like they're going to have to win there. And so that's not going to be easy. And they have suffered some setbacks here, much of it self-inflicted. They have not played the type of football we all thought they would, all agreed. All I'm saying for a moment is hold the horses. You
covered a lot of teams, when you were in Denver and everything like that and watching how teams come apart. When Brandon Graham is going to media members and saying the media got Sean Desai fired. I mean, to me, and I don't either. And that's a crack, though, to me, in a veteran player falling into that. Really, it disappoints me that a veteran player would be spinning something like that.
Well, I mean, I don't know his basis for that and why he thinks that. The fact of the matter is, Sean Desai got Sean Desai fired, and the defensive performance got Sean Desai fired, even though he still got the title. So, the media, I don't know. Like, you want to blame the media? Okay, fine. I mean, I don't see that. I'd have to hear his side. I don't think that I would agree with it in advance, but I'd be open to hearing his comments to explain how and why that would happen, with you guys having very strong evidence to the contrary.
Schefter, when you came on, you said about the panic of fans, and you were surprised by it. Did you view the Eagles getting rid of Desai from that position as a panic move by the organization?
I think we're going to see. I'm not ready to answer that question yet, because the fact of the matter is, if it doesn't work out, then you're going to say, yeah, it was a panic move. And if it does work out and the defense plays better, then it was the right move. Right. So these things are proven out over time. And right now, I'm not ready to answer that, Bob. I'd like to see how it plays out. If I can tell you this, that if they don't show signs of improvement and the season ends with a playoff loss in their first playoff game, then we're going to say that was a sign of panic.
I love how you keep a measured approach to this, Adam, and it's one of the things that you said you believe they're the second best team in the NFC. Yes. I think they're going to be the 2 seed also. I think they're going to win this division. And I told you last week Dallas is going to lose twice. They already lost the first one. I think they're going to lose again. I think Dallas is going to lose once again coming up at Miami this week. And then what will the talking points be on them? They're supposed to be the other big boogeyman, and I don't see it.
And they're gonna have to win on the road, and they've shown that they can't win on the road. So somebody's gonna have to show that they can do something that they haven't. And Philly, with its schedule down the stretch, 2 Giants, 1 Arizona. I mean, they should be 3-0. Okay, and if they're not, and if they don't get it going in the right direction here, then the criticism that's come at them already is going to grow louder and more intense. At the very worst, they should be 2-1. But I will also say this. I don't know if they're playing good enough football right now to win all 3 games. I'm just being honest there, too.
That's what Bob's making that point all week long.
Yeah. Their next win, Schefter, you've seen it. You've seen good teams struggle like you just talked about earlier. Could the next win that the Eagles get, now I know they're playing kind of a trash Giants team and all that, but how hard is it for an NFL team when they're in these doldrums to pull themselves out and get a win no matter the opponent?
Well, there's 2 ways of looking at it, right? And I've thought about this, and I think about this in a selfish kind of way because I'm in my fantasy football semifinals in the ESPN league. Hold on, I've never won the league, and I have the Eagles defense. I also have the Rams defense. Okay, I think, and I'll be disappointed if it doesn't happen. There's the possibility that entire team, defense, offense, team, everybody, just has a banner day on Sunday. And if they don't, and if it's some 21-20 game where Jake Elliott gets a field goal at the end to salvage, we're going to be back on here next week, and I'm going to say, I'm a little worried right now. I didn't like that. But I get the feeling that they're going to take out all their fury on the Giants on Sunday. Now, doesn't mean I'm right. That's what I'm expecting. And I would like that for my fantasy football defense, but let's see if they're up to it. But to our earlier point, they have not been playing good enough to think that you could just count on 3 automatic wins. Not the way they're playing. But that could change quickly, and they can get it turned around because they could and should be the number 2 seed.
I wanted to ask you about this because a lot of the media, it sort of reminds me of like when movie critics talk about a movie and they tell the people that it's trash, and the people just flood to the box office and love it because they think it's just highly entertaining. There's a lot of people spinning. The NFL product's never been worse. Oh, it's terrible. This is even I've read unwatchable. Yet the NFL continues to set like ratings records and dominates. I want to know, through your eyes, is this the worst the NFL products ever looked to you?
I don't think like that because, to your point, the ratings are way up. Everybody's watching. Everybody cares. Fantasy, I get it, drives a lot of it.
And gambling,
yeah, I get it. All that is all true, okay? So maybe they're not playing as good a football, but people still want to watch it like crazy, and it's still incredibly popular. I don't know how you measure, so the quality of play, whereas at one point it might have been a 10. I really think it's one of those get off my lawn arguments. I'm not telling you it's better today, but it's just different. It's just different.
I think it's like a movie. It's like when a movie reviewer tells you the movie sucks and everybody loves it. I mean, and everybody goes to see it. I think it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes we get a little too inside.
I don't get too critical about it, right? Is the quality of play is good? No, there are certain spots. The offensive line, they need to make better offensive linemen. They need to be more good quarterbacks. But some of these guys, oh my God, are they gifted and strong and fast and athletically blessed? Okay, the game in some areas is not as good. And Tom Brady's right. Gardner Minshew shouldn't be throwing a pass that leaves his receiver in a position to be crunched by the safe. But these things happen. It's the way it goes. The other thing is, not as good. I'm around some of these teams sometimes, and I see some of these guys. I can't believe how young everybody looks. And it was always this way. I don't remember when I covered the league. So it's just, I think everyone's perspective is just a little bit different, and I don't stop for a moment and say, boy, the play's just not good anymore. I'm not watching. It's what I do for a living.
Yeah, right.
I don't have a problem with it.
Schefter, Dan Orlovsky, your colleague, went on the air and said the Eagles are running basically the same 3 and 4 plays all throughout, predictable. And then you had Christian McCaffrey on the Manning cast and predicting a play. Yep. What's your reaction to that? Were you surprised? Were you in agreement? What was your reaction to it?
I don't study X's and O's like those guys. But I would just say this, that if Dan Orlovsky's saying it and Christian McCaffrey's saying it, there are some things that the Eagles have to self-scout and be aware of that they need to adjust. That's what I would say to that. Like, you can't have people calling out plays and saying they're running the same 3 plays. These are smart people. So if they're saying that, there's got to be something to it. And you, as an organization, have to be self-aware enough to say, okay, we need to mix some things up. And I think that's what they tried to do defensively and clear on Monday night, and it looks like that's what they need to do offensively as well. Look, they have issues to fix, but there are 3 games left. They should be the 2 seed. It's time. Every team's got issues to fix. They're not alone.
Are you a impossible person to buy a gift for? Would your wife say that to me? Would she say he's impossible to buy a gift for?
She would say I'd probably be a hard guy. Like, what? I don't really want anything. I don't really need anything. I'll say this. I'm glad she doesn't listen, right? And I hope nobody's listening and tell her. But Saturday night, this weekend, my daughter is doing the sidelines for Nickelodeon's Christmas Day game.
Awesome.
She's a sideline reporter. So, I can't go initially. And so my wife is taking her. At least she says she is. Like, she's got flying issues. She doesn't like to travel. So we need to see her get on the plane first. But she's planning to take my daughter on Saturday. And if, in fact, she does go and take her to Kansas City, Saturday night will be the first night in 17 years of our marriage that I've ever been at our house alone.
That's amazing. And the dogs. So you're responsible for the dogs.
And the dogs, right? Me and the 5 dogs, right? So I say that because when you say, "What's the gift?" Well, I have a friend in town, and he's like, I haven't seen. Let's go have let's go for coffee. Let's go grab a bite. And I go, well, I got an idea for you. You want to have an early dinner Saturday night, like quick early dinner? He goes, my wife's taking my kids to the Nutcracker. I'm like,
wow,
oh my God. So me and my friend are going to meet at a local restaurant, and that to me, Bob and John, that is the greatest gift I could get. Like a free hour with a friend to go have dinner and go home and be by myself.
During football season, too, which is even better.
Oh.
Hopefully the Eagles don't fire a coordinator while you're at dinner. So
you know what I say to all that?
What's that?
Merry Christmas.
Hey, Adam, we appreciate you. Thanks for being part of our show.
Have a great holiday, Schefter.
Guys. Take care, guys.
There you go. Adam Schefter joined us in the Comcast Business Hotline, where every day in business is a big day. And our friends at Landis Block and Concrete. And I thank Jared Nice and his entire team up there in Souderton. They do a great job. LandisBC.com. Can't wait to use my jaw-dropping outdoor paradise that I didn't get to use this year due to the sun exposure. I'll be all over it next year. It's absolutely beautiful. And, Jared, we appreciate you and Landis Block for being a fine supporter of the show. So you heard from that. We've got people that want to talk about Jaylen Hurts and Jaylen Hurts' evaluation. We'll get to you, Anthony, and more. The idea of Jaylen Hurts is maybe I still think needs a bigger mirror to be able to, when he's evaluating himself. We'll get to that coming up. John Kincade Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. If you're a Wawa fan, and who am I kidding? Everybody's a Wawa fan. Give the
1-800-GAMBLER.
Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Great talking to Adam Schefter and a lot to unload there. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Our thoughts this morning with the folks over a couple blocks over at Channel 6, Action News, where the Chopper 6 crashed last night, killing a photographer and the pilot over in the Pine Barrens. It would be, right?
Yeah, Burlington County, New Jersey. Yeah,
coming back from covering a story at the shore. So I know that is a huge loss for the family over there at Channel 6, and we're thinking of all of them today. Listening to Adam Schefter talk about Jaylen Hurts really is interesting because I feel the same way that the reactions to this team right now are just going over the top. They're really over the top, and it is interesting though that Jaylen Hurts has every reason to be criticized, though, recently. I mean, he has not been getting the job done. And I don't believe there should be any, somebody who can't be criticized just because they're a really good talent or they're a really good player. He deserves the criticism that he's getting. Some of it's over the top, but a lot of people have a lot of different thoughts on it. Anthony in Philadelphia joins us. Anthony, good morning. You're on The Fanatic.
Hey, good morning. I've been watching Jaylen for a long time, since maybe 3 seasons, and he's always been like that. Even during the winning streak, he sits on the sidelines and doesn't show any emotion, or he doesn't do anything to show that he's into the game. It's like he's just sitting there motionless. Even during the 10-1 run, he just sat there. So I guess it's more pronounced now that they're losing, and I've noticed, I'm not a professional at emotional or body language, but his body language has gotten even worse.
I think it's worse. I see the slumped shoulder stuff. I see the disgust, the shaking of the head, the things like that. That's not good. You're on camera all the time. You shouldn't be shaking your head when the defense gives up some bad plays.
Right. Sometimes the guys need to be patted on the butt. I mean, I see them doing before. You know how the guys before the game they got one guy in the middle and they're hyping everybody up. I see them doing that, but during the game, it's like absolute. Unless we're not seeing it, unless you're at the game and you see him doing something during the game to hype everybody up. But he felt good. He was feeling good the other night when he threw those 2 bounds. So I don't know what the problem is, but he's gonna have to straighten it out so these guys can come out and play. I mean, I like him. I want to see him do well, but, he needs to show more emotion. And that's a big part of the game. These guys are out here killing each other, trying to pull your head. He got guys running at them, trying to really hit him. So he needs to show some type of, get hyped and get his adrenaline flowing, You got enough money, dude. Let's go.
Well, hopefully, I mean, he's... I hate it when
you're
the money
reading way into something you know nothing about. And no disrespect, Anthony, but perhaps the reason Jaylen Hurts sits on the sideline like he does is because he's too amped up inside. Michael Jordan used to go out and play a basketball game at the University of North Carolina, and Dean Smith had to take him out after 2 minutes because he was too hyped. Like, maybe Jaylen Hurts, that's what he has to do in order to perform. Calm himself down. Keep that monotone attitude because that's the way he has to be to perform his best. I can't tell somebody to get more hyped, less hyped, whatever. I don't know what's going on inside of his body. Reading his face is going to tell me all the emotions that he has coursing through that body in front of 80,000 people. Nah, I can't pretend to know that.
Well, there is one thing I would say about that, though, is the idea of, are you telling me that, like with Jaylen, like shaking your head and being on camera, shaking your head when the defense gives up a big touchdown or a big play, I don't think that's good. I don't think there's any way to spin that.
I don't think giving up the touchdown's good.
I agree with you, but I don't think that's good. Because
what if he's saying to himself, God, I can't believe I just threw that interception that led to that touchdown? I mean, why are we reading emotions? Let's read play. Let's read football. Let's read why he's not thrown to the open guy. Why is it that somebody's wide open 10 yards in front of him and you can't see that?
Well, why do you
I don't care if he smiles or poops or pisses or does whatever he wants. Like, just go out there and play football. Let's talk, like emotions. Everybody handles it different. It's funny because, I am nothing in this world when it comes to sport. I was so amped up before I played a game that I had to go out and sweat my ass off in warm-ups just to calm myself down. Like, I'm not going to pretend to know anything about anybody's emotions. Other guys did other things before games that I won't mention on the air that, calm them down. I'm not, I really, just reading into the emotions, what are we going to be happier if Jalen Hurts goes and jumps in somebody's arm or gets in on the celebration of, rolling a bowling ball and he falls down? I
want to
don't
know
much care about that.
why do you regress? And we're not getting that answer. We're not getting that answer from Jalen, who won't address anything. Just is going to speak, as Pat says, in fortune cookies. We're not getting any answers on the regression from the offensive coordinator. We're not getting any answers on the regression from the head coach. They are literally sitting there acting like there is no regression. Like, we just got to get better. We got to get better as a team. They won't even articulate the words to go, Jalen's regressed, and he knows that, and he's working on it, and here's some of the things we're going to do. We're going to put him in a better
but when
position.
they're talking about regression, all I'm saying is they're not talking about, he's regressing because he's not smiling on the sideline.
Oh, no, I'm saying
you know
that.
what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing is, though,
if they're going to not say, I don't expect them to say anything to us about X's and O's. I really don't. We can dive in. I've interviewed a million times, and I try to get answers. You try all the time, and occasionally you'll get there. But, it's rare that a coach is going to come out and say, I don't know what the hell Jalen's looking at. I really don't.
Well,
Things are open, and why isn't he seeing it?
Thing is, you don't have to say it like that. If he said it like that, I'd criticize him. But it's okay to say, yep, everybody in this locker room's got to look themselves in the eye, whether it's Jason Kelce, whether it's Jalen Hurts. And obviously, Jalen's been struggling lately. But he's going to work his backside off to make sure that those things get corrected, and we're doing some things to do so. It's like it's like they just want to act like it's not even happening.
What if he said that to the team on the plane on the way home? The exact words that you just said. We didn't hear it. They did.
Well, enough's leaking out of that locker room that I think we would have heard something, because that locker room has sprung leaks. It's like the Doug Peterson administration.
I don't know. I mean, they're saying some things like, we're
saying things publicly
predictable
now.
Or whatever. Yeah, but I never heard when things were good a lot of the things that were probably said. So, I don't expect to hear it, I guess, that is where I am.
You're not looking for it at that point. So look, with this Eagles team, there's tons of things that we've been chatting about. And obviously there's things that are more X's and O's-ish, and there's things that are more nebulous. But I'm asking you right now, does the Hurts backslide sort of give you PTSD a little bit after watching the Carson Wentz situation? To me, he doesn't seem right. He doesn't seem energized. To me, he almost his post-game press conference the other night, he sounds beaten to me. And so I ask, does what happened with Carson Wentz in any way give you a little nervousness or PTSD? Because we saw a quarterback go from an MVP, and he would have won MVP till he tore up his knee. He was easily going to be the MVP. And then we saw a guy who never got it back. Could last year be the year that Jalen Hurts never gets back? That is the year we always point to as, well, he had a good career, but that one year he was amazing.
Yeah, and it goes back to a subject we talked about before the season, saying, is our standard for Jalen Hurts way too high? Do we expect him to be an MVP candidate every year, in the top 5 every year as a quarterback like he was last year? Probably not. Did we expect a fall off to be like this?
No.
Definitely not. So we talk about a lot how looking into the future is a dangerous thing, whether it's weekly, monthly, yearly. Jalen Hurts is still a really young quarterback. And,
so was Wentz, though.
Yeah. Couldn't there be comparisons? I saw a lot of people doing it yesterday, and I hear you. I understand where you're going, and there are a lot of parallels there. As an Eagles fan, you sure as hell hope it doesn't finish up the same way.
Hey, is that Titan? Titan joins us. Good morning, Titan.
Hey, what's up, fellas? Enjoying your discussion so far.
Good. We're always remembering you, even when you're not here.
Listen, man, why y'all digging too deep into this? It's clearly the offensive and defensive coordinator and our lack of good linebacker play, and our edge rushers aren't the edge rushers they were last year.
Wait a minute, Titan. Wait a minute. Whoa. You're telling me Jalen Hurts is not checking down on plays and throwing into triple coverage when he has wide open receivers underneath because of the offensive coordinator? Come on now.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, last year we saw a team that out-schemed teams. You remember when we put Micah Parsons in a blender with that little motion play that we ran that we could have either ran with the running back or ran with the quarterback or passed it? You tell me a game where the Eagles outcoached anybody this year, and I'll listen.
But, Titan, you're not answering. These guys are wide open underneath, and he's throwing deep. And so the thing is, they did scheme it. They did scheme guys wide open.
Listen very carefully. I will count that the two things can be true, but we have not outcoached anybody this year.
Well, if they're scheming guys wide open and he's not hitting them.
Listen, we've all watched Jaworski's film show. There is always plays left on the field. What I'm saying is you can't even tell me the identity of the Philadelphia Eagles this year.
Oh, I would agree with that.
We knew what they were. We knew what they could do.
I agree with that.
On all phases of the game, they are subpar. We are a last-ranked defense right now. Who's going to beat anybody with a last-ranked defense?
Titan, who's more unrecognizable, the offense or defense to you?
Oh, the defense. Well, I say, here's the crazy part. They both are.
Exactly, yeah.
Last year and this year, I wouldn't know what team was what.
You know, though,
it's like they're scared to run the ball, and we have one of the most dominant run-blocking offensive lines ever.
Yeah,
we're not committed to running the ball. We want the ball in Jaylen Hurts' hands. And you know what it's going to end up looking like? It's going to end up looking like the 85% McNabb-era teams.
All right, well, we got to run.
I'll tell you what Titan brings up, and it's not directly to what he says. It's kind of an overview. This is such a strange series of events that have gone on with this team where I asked him who's more unrecognizable. Both, I guess. He goes on and on about things, the running game. You got to commit to the run. They ran the ball 38 times last week and passed it 31. I understand what he's saying, but everything that we bring up about this Eagles team, when you're trying to find, okay, this is good, there's no definitive there this year. There's just not. People bring up A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown was on pace to be like the best wide receiver in the league and set records for this team. And understandably so, he's being questioned now. Jaylen Hurts was almost an MVP last year. Now it's questioned, is he the Carson Wentz? Everything on this team right now has blown up. It was bubbling at 10-1. It was bubbling under the surface, but now it's all blowing up because of 3 horrible losses.
And that is a huge issue, though. But what Titan's saying there doesn't make any sense, because I feel dirty having to defend Brian Johnson because I am one of his biggest critics. But when Kenny Gainwell on the biggest play of the game is wide open, or was it Devontae? I'm trying to think. I'm drawing a blank. It was Kenny Gainwell on the left, wide open. And you need a field goal to tie the game. That's on Jaylen. That is not on the offensive coordinator. He had a scheme. They schemed a play that ended up having Kenny Gainwell wide open that would have put them in field goal range. He could have run out of bounds. They maybe even could have snuck in another pass play. Maybe. I don't think so, but maybe.
I think he would have scored a touchdown.
He could have scored a touchdown.
You had one-on-one blocking in front of you, and that
was it.
So he schemed a play that worked. So stop saying that, well, he never schemes guys. When Jaylen Hurts is missing underneath guys wide open all season long, it's been a trend, and it's been really bad lately. You can't tell me that Brian Johnson isn't scheming guys open. His quarterback is not hitting guys open. But the predictability of this offense and his lack of fixing it tells me whatever he's telling Jaylen to do isn't happening. Jaylen's neither not listening or the message isn't getting through. One of the two. Both answers are unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Reese in Nebraska joins us. Reese, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kincade.
How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I am, regardless of what the last caller said and how everyone feels, I am hopelessly optimistic. I left town, and I've moved to Nebraska of all the places in the world. So hopefully the Eagles could win. The last time I left, they won the Super Bowl. Let's see what happens while I'm out of town this time.
I think I'm right with you, though, as far as, to me, I don't know about winning a Super Bowl. But I said I started the show today believing that they are going to win. They're going to win the division. They'll be the number 2 game. They'll be the number 2 seed. They'll win 2 home playoff games, and they'll go to the NFC title game. I believe that.
Yes, and I read your text when I woke up this morning. It said NFC title game, and I was like, you know what? 3 games left. All the teams are under 500. The Eagles cannot underachieve 3 straight games. They're a good football team with a good roster, with good guys who have solid understanding, at least I'm hoping, in the coaching staff of what they're facing. So I got them going 3-0 these next 3 games, and hopefully righting the ship. And I just want to say this to everyone in the Delaware Valley: when they do this, please keep this same. We're going to lose. We're not this. We're not that. This team is better than us. That keep that same energy.
I love your message. I love your message because I do believe that the bandwagon jumpers will all be back.
Yeah, but it's the same energy that we just made fun of Dallas for, just beating up on these bad teams. So now we're going to go out and beat up on bad teams. I'm supposed to be all the way bought back in?
Well, that's how Dallas built their record. That's how.
Yeah, but we made fun of them. Go beat a good team. Go beat a good team.
The Eagles have beaten more good teams than any team in the NFL.
Not this current Eagles team.
Yes, this Eagles team is 5-2.
A month ago.
This Eagles team is 5-2 versus playoff teams. The San Francisco 49ers are 5-2 versus playoff teams.
If this Eagles team that's lining up this past Monday night, next Monday night, played those teams, I don't know if they'd go out there and win again. So to me, it's 2 completely different teams at this point, even though it's the same season.
To me, you can't disregard what this team's. The entire body of work matters. Did you ever have a bad couple weeks in a class? The entire body of work matters. It's like what Adam was saying earlier. This team is not the burning building that everybody wants to make it to be. It could become that. Absolutely.
I should have told all my teachers that when I got an A+ in syllabus week.
You got a syllabus week? I don't do syllabus week. We just hit the ground running. None of that stuff. I mean, Bobby, is it to me it's the idea of and Adam's I think pretty objective. He was shocked by the vitriol about this.
I was shocked that he was shocked.
You expected it? Really, to be this bad?
Do you know this fan base?
I know.
I mean, I've been here for 35 years covering teams in this city. I know this fan base back and forth, and I love them to death. Of course they're going to jump off when they're playing bad. And of course they're going to jump on when it's, time comes, playoff time, whatever. That's what fandom is about. That's what it all is. And to try to separate yourself from saying, oh, don't you come back to me and say that you're rooting for this team after you said they're horrible right now. They are horrible right now. That's what makes this fan base great.
No,
they'll call you to your face an idiot, and then they'll give you a hug right after that to tell you they love you.
You can say this team's played horrible the last few weeks. But if you'd say that the season's over, this team sucks, fire Sirianni, they're awful, I think that's idiotic. I think it's ridiculous.
I love you, fan base. You can say all that and jump back on. I'm not going to call you idiotic.
I think it's idiotic behavior. Because if you think this season's over, I think you're foolish. Completely foolish. If you're telling me today, I think this season's over, this team's done, put a fork in them, they have no chance to win, I think you're foolish.
Yeah, but I think that is the way fans are. But
no, wait a minute. I'm a fan. Don't say that.
Just because you're a fan one way doesn't. Pat Egan cheers for a college you didn't go to.
I know that.
Me too.
That's against every piece of fandom, and you make fun of
and he doesn't either.
Brendan for that. There's no rules for fandom.
Well, I'm saying is, but don't paint all fans to be the same, because we're not. Not all fans are saying.
Well, the majority of fans wake up on
You're
Tuesday
asking them
morning.
all to be the same. You're asking them not to be jumping back on the bandwagon.
No, I'm not.
They can be however they want.
No,
they're still fans.
That was Titan says not jump back in the bandwagon. I'm saying is that I'm going to look at you and go, if you're telling me this Eagles season is over, this team's done, fork in them, they're awful, fire everybody, I'm going to tell you, I think it's foolish, completely foolish. Not halfway, completely.
The day after the game, I think the world's going to end, and I don't even want to watch the team the rest of the game, or the season, I should say. By the next game comes around that morning, I'm like, all right, we're going undefeated the rest of the way, and we're back to the Super Bowl. I think that's the way a lot of fans are. They're just ride the emotions.
I'm not there in the Super Bowl thing.
I'm saying, but when game day comes around and kickoff's coming around, I'm like, all right, I'm all the way back in.
Hey, a lot of you are going to want to chime in. Where do you fall on this? It's very passionate. You get in on it. 610-632-0975. John Kincade Show here on 97.5, The Fanatic. The BetParks app Man, they're the best. They're absolutely awesome. And did you know they're the official winning partner of the Philadelphia 76ers? With your odds, with your bets, with your slots, right there in the palm of your hand. And this holiday season, you can get winning on the BetParks Casino app. It's simple. New users, join me now. Download the BetParks app. You make a deposit and wager just $1, and you'll be registered for the weekly BetParks Holiday Prize Giveaway. If you can win great prizes, bonus spins, all kinds of things. Plus, get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're not a winner in your first 24 hours. The BetParks app or BetParks.com has all the details, and the casino bonus must be wagered at least once. Look, everybody loves it, and with the Sixers are playing tonight, Flyers have been great. You got Birds action, 10.5-point favorites. Man, I thought the season was over. I guess it's not. You love to play, and you play to win. You bet Parks. You got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, Ohio, or Maryland. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Please just win again. I'm Brendan Gunn, and this update is brought to you by Pajamagram. Soft, silky, a best-selling Christmas gift for her. Get a free $75 nightie with naturally new pajamas from Pajamagram.com. As we all know, the Eagles are losers of 3 straight games, and the fate of their season hangs in the balance. The New York Giants come to town on Christmas afternoon for a matchup against the Birds, but the Eagles' issues start with themselves, not their opponent. Jeff McClain joined the midday show yesterday and said the Eagles are simply not having fun anymore this year.
Guys aren't playing loose. There's 10. And I think Slay touched on that too when he said guys just aren't having fun. This was after the Cowboys game. And I asked Nick about this last night, and he said, well, losing isn't fun. But from what I sense, this has been the running theme of even before the 3-game losing streak.
The Flyers extended their point streak to 9 games last night with a thrilling overtime win over the New Jersey Devils by a score of 3-2. The team moved to 7-0-1 in the month of December. The Sixers look to get back in the win column tonight with a win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Joel Embiid looks to push his 30-point streak to 13 games. Tip-off for that game is at 7 p.m., and you can catch that right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update was also brought to you by Jackson Hewitt Tax Services. Home of the money, today guaranteed. Tax refund advance loans at Jackson Hewitt, starting December 11th. Early refund advance offer to eligible clients. Application required. Finance charge applies. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com. I'm Brendan Gunn on the home of the Sixers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Tyrone Johnson, Ricky Batalico, and Jen Scordo. The best show ever. Listen weekday afternoons 2 to 6. The Eagles, the Phillies, the Sixers, and the Flyers. We have you covered all day, every day. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. Happy holidays from the Fanatic family to yours.
Hey guys, it's Andrew. Just want to wish you a very happy holiday, a Merry Christmas. I hope you enjoy all your time with your family like I will with my wife Christy, my son Cooper. Everybody have a great rest of your year. Enjoy your new year in 2024. From the #1 Michael Bublé fan, Andrew Salchowitz.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
Season's greetings, and thanks for listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
How would you describe your sex life? Going into overtime or over too quickly? If your ED has resulted in nightly no-hitters, it's time to explore Focused Shockwave Therapy at Forge Medical Group. Focused Shockwave Therapy is a novel treatment for ED that uses pulses of energy traveling faster than the speed of sound to penetrate deep inside your body to activate the growth of new blood vessels and tissues on a cellular level. It's safe, simple, and painless with no side effects. Right now, the doctors at Forge Medical Group will create a custom treatment plan combining focused shockwave therapy with acoustic wave therapy for as low as $300 per session. Don't spend another night on the sidelines. Call today about focused shockwave therapy at Forge Medical Group. Appointments fill up fast, so call 610-632-8181 now or visit forgemedicalgroup.com. That's forgemedicalgroup.com.
Does anyone feel like life is busier than ever, especially with the holidays? I'm a planner and try to think of it all. But what about the unexpected? Now, I've got that covered. My husband and I finally got life insurance with SelectQuote, and I couldn't believe how easy and affordable it was. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40, and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. This holiday season, I feel a little lighter, knowing my family is protected and ready for whatever the new year throws our way. Call Select Quote at 1-800-606-9090. That's 1-800-606-9090. Or go to selectquote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-606-9090. Details on example rate at selectquote.com.
That time of the year is coming around. The Holiday Classic is back on Christmas Eve. Let's go! Tune into NFL Network for an epic primetime showdown. It's time for the holidays. We're going to set the tone. As the Patriots. There's that speed. And the Broncos. Touchdown! Light up mile high for an AFC clash on Sunday night. Deck the hall. You're having a ball. NFL Holiday Classic, Christmas Eve at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on NFL Network and streaming on NFL Plus.
Honey, come here, quick.
What is it?
Shh, check it out. The prices on all these highly rated tequilas are amazing. Total Wine must have made a mistake.
Nope, they always have the best deals in town. Remember that amazing reposado your sister brought over last week? See, it's right here.
Whoa, that's a low price. I mean, whoa, that's a low price.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly. B21.
2023 is coming to a close, and Spring Dance Hot Tubs has got you covered this holiday season. All 2023 models must go. Enjoy up to $5,000 off on Hot Spring Spas, Caldera Spas, or any of the other amazing hot tub brands available to you exclusively at Spring Dance Hot Tubs. Or relax and enjoy the many health benefits offered by a new sauna from Finleo. Save up to $2,000 on a new sauna for your home or business. All 2023 models must go. Save big now at any of Spring Dance Hot Tubs' 4 convenient locations, or visit springdancehottubs.com.
No matter what the weather, most of us need to get on the road every day and get going. So we need tires to depend on in any condition. No one understands that better than the dependable people at Mavis Discount Tire. At Mavis, we believe nothing builds more confidence while driving than having the right tires at the right price, so you can confidently handle the road ahead. Roll in for $200 off select sets of 4 Goodyear tires. Visit us at mavis.com.
I'm going to give the gift of glow this holiday season with a gift card from Hand & Stone Massage and Facial Spa. You buy a spa package and you get a free massage or facial gift card. I know that my wife or my daughter is going to enjoy the tranquility of massage services and the rejuvenating glow that their facial services provide. Why don't you visit any one of their 60 Philadelphia area Hand & Stone Massage and Facial Spa locations, or search for the location nearest you to view their exclusive online offers. Restrictions do apply. See the spa for more details.
Visit Barlow Chevrolet in Delran, where they are celebrating the holiday season with their Red Tag Savings event. That means bonus cash on select popular new models. So stop by and check out the large inventory of Silverado, Tahoe, Equinox, and more. Plus, the friendly and experienced staff at Barlow is always there to make the buying process simple and convenient with honest prices and dedicated service. Barlow delivers for you. Stop by for the holidays in Delran or visit barlowautogroup.com. Together, let's drive.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5, The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Hopefully your Wednesday is going well. We got people all fired up, ready to chat with us. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. And about the fandom and about the reactions to this team. Some people do think it's over the top. You heard Schefter. Thinks it's absolutely over the top. I do. I think it's over the top. Some people don't. They believe that the building is burning. And you just got to, and you can't ignore it any longer. We have a lot of people want to chime in, and we'll get to it here at 610-632-0975. And let's see what we got here. Khalil. How are you, Khalil?
Hey, how you doing today? Good morning.
Doing
What's
well,
up, buddy?
All right. Let me tell you, I listen every morning when I take my kids to school, man, and I appreciate you guys. You guys give me
Thank you so much.
But first of all, I want to say I got to agree with Pat, man. Sometimes we get upset. We understand the Eagles is the winning team. We used to see the Eagles winning. we're 10-4, the Lions 10-4. The Lions think they're going to the Super Bowl. We think we're losing in the first round. Some of us think we're just going to win a couple games in the playoffs. But you got to understand, it's probably a little deeper than just, it's 10-4. We're making mistakes, this and that. It's the play calling. It's a little bit of everything. But when it comes to us, like, giving up on a team, we're not going to give up. We're going to say things that we don't want to say, but we got to say it. But we don't mean it.
What do you mean you don't mean it?
We don't mean it. Like you're saying, fire everybody. You're going to say that after the game. You're going to say fire everybody. But when I get to work, I'm going to be defending my team.
Okay, but if somebody tells me the season's over, this team's done, stick a fork in them, they're not winning anything, they may not win a game the rest of the year and everything, then I'm supposed to just ignore it and say, oh, they're just saying it. They don't mean it.
I said the same thing after the game, but guess what? When I went to work, I knew it wasn't true. I was just upset that same day. But I knew that's not going to happen. I felt that way. But I'm a passionate Eagles fan. I could watch the game sometimes, and I might drop a tear on how happy I am. I'm so passionate about this thing right here.
I love that.
What I'm saying? I love it. It's in my heart. I was born with it. You understand what I'm saying? So when we say these things, we don't mean them.
Okay, but if you're saying them after the game, and Bob, how about this? Be an arbiter here with me and Khalil. If you're saying them after the game in anger, but if you're saying them on Wednesday or Tuesday afternoon, then I think it's foolish.
It can be foolish, but some people, that love is that deep sometimes, because like I said, at the end of the day, Sunday, they're gonna be right back in front of their TV, sharing their butts off, or they're going to be angry, or they're going to be upset.
I don't think the word fanatic is a synonym for stability. I mean, it's just or sane. It's just not. I mean, that's why it's the word. It's fanatic. You're fanatical about your team. That's the ups. That's the downs. All right. So we'll go to you for example. Do you think they're winning the Super Bowl?
No.
Did you say all year that they no doubt about they're going to win the Super Bowl?
Yes.
So it's just the moving of the part.
But I'm also not saying that because of a 3-game losing streak, the season's over.
Well, the season is over if you thought they were going to win a Super Bowl and they're not going to win a Super Bowl now in your mind.
There's going to be plenty of entertainment.
Well, you can find entertainment beating 3 bad teams to end the season and then see what happens in the playoffs, but the end goal isn't going to be achieved.
Well, I don't know. Today, I don't think that.
And that's what I find out. Today, they think that the house is on fire.
No, they
just
think
like Khalil just said.
When you say the season's over, you're saying the season's over.
Well, you're saying the season's over.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. You're saying they're not winning the ultimate game, so it's over.
No, because the season wasn't the season last year. The Eagles lost the Super Bowl. It was a great season. It was a great season. Capital G, capital letters across the way.
Expectations are key, though. Like last year, nobody went into that season saying we're going to win the Super Bowl or it's a bust. That was icing on the cake. This year it was kind of win the Super Bowl or bust.
Okay,
so when you don't do it, it's a failure.
So if they go to the NFC title game,
I'm not happy.
Are you saying this season is a failure?
Yeah.
If they lose in the Final Four?
You called the Phillies season a failure when they lost in the Super Bowl and they lost in the National League Championship Series.
If they choke it away, yes. If the Eagles
are up, starting 10-1 and choking it away.
Yeah, exactly.
If the Eagles are up in the NFC title game by 17 points and blow it, like the Phillies being up 3-2, coming home for 2 games, and absolutely wetting their pants and not performing, that would leave me totally different than them losing a tough game at San Francisco. Completely. And I would not say it's a disastrous season if you lose that way. It's not.
I didn't expect the Phillies to win a World Series this year.
Well, they're built to be able to do it.
So are the Eagles.
They are. They
you said all year long, no doubt in your mind they're winning the Super Bowl.
I thought they'd win the Super Bowl.
Now they're not.
I said that. I did not say all year long. I said before the year, I thought they were winning the Super Bowl. I have not said that they're definitively winning the Super Bowl for a while now because I've seen warts that surprise me. And I also think San Francisco is the best team right now. Could it change? Could McCaffrey blow out his ankle? Yeah? No, I mean, it could. I don't want to wish that on anybody, but could that happen? If Christian McCaffrey went down, it could change everything on a dime. This team is right in the mix. They're right there. They need to fix their own. They need to fix their own wagon first. But hey, 9:00 hour is brought to you by the Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. Get your stay at Home Depot or Lowe's for details. Go to Bagster.com. Leonard in Philly is on the line. Leonard, thanks for hanging on, buddy.
Oh, thank you. I have 2 points 2 points to make. One about fandom, one about Jaylen Hurts that I think a lot of people are not talking about. The fandom, in terms of and outcomes, expectations, in the words of Ricky Bobby, you're not first, you're last. So
you really do feel that way? Did you when you turned off the TV after last year's Super Bowl? What was your emotion? Because I swear to you, I still managed to smile about the season.
Yeah, I was, but you got to understand where we are as Eagles fans right now. We're spoiled.
I got you.
We're spoiled. So it kind of reminds me of my little brother. It's like he wants to do the exact opposite. He's like, I don't want to, I hate fire everybody, but then at the end of the year, if they make the Super Bowl and win, he's going to be like, my dad would have been proud, right? So I think that we're at a point of we're just sort of spoiled. We're just kind of being angry. It's like talking to a player right after a game. And then they, obviously they have to backtrack a few days later. So that's kind of we are at a fan base.
It could be I like that.
Good.
Go on. I like that thing. The thing is, I like what you said though. 2 days later, we shouldn't be hearing season's over. This team's it's done. Stick a fork in them. After the game, I totally get it. Walking out of the bar after you watch your team lose, I get it. Yeah. You're in anger. You think, but 2 days later, I think the IQ should kick in and should be able to help you out.
Well, but that's what happens when you're spoiled. You get everything you want, right? So it takes time to kind of get over
Gotcha.
that. My Jaylen Hurts point. Okay, so I'm going to break this down. Okay, I don't think this goes away. Okay, so there were multiple reports. That one, I think, is more so offensive team than Jaylen. Don't get me wrong. Jaylen needs to be held accountable, and I think that might be another reason as to why Brian Johnson is not doing a great job. Multiple former QBs have said, I think it was Dan Orlovsky, that they have seen the biggest jump in terms of skill set accuracy from first year to second year, or second year to third year. I think that was Dan Orlovsky or someone else. So I was out on Jaylen Hurts, but we have to understand that he at one point during this year was the leading QB in terms of accuracy in the pocket. Is that correct?
Last year he was. He was the best pocket passer in the NFL last season. Not this season.
He was for a time this year, but
that faded away.
Okay, that faded away. So what I'm saying is that for me, it's more so offensive scheme. It doesn't make sense. It's not logical to think that he has regressed. And I think in terms of philosophy checkdowns, that is the philosophy of the organization. And I think that's what Jaylen is doing. Big offensive plays. He is missing. It's not like he doesn't see the guys. He's ignoring the guys, that's a common sense regression. Then that's common sense. There was no reason to throw that ball to Quez Watkins, to go through with that play, and it's pointed out. Brian Baldinger shows it to you really well on Twitter today. There was no reason, and you had two guys that were open with 5 yard buffers that could have just continued to move the chains, bleed the clock. You were in the lead. There was no reason to do it. And then the A.J. Brown one. Again, guys wide open. They go to A.J. Brown instead of taking what you got underneath and being able to just move the chains and keep the clock moving.
Yeah, that was a dumb play because you just need a chunk yardage there. And is the thinking going on? What's happening? The sickness, all of those things. I don't know. It goes to the question when I listen to someone like that talk and go back and forth. Does the coordinator make the player more than the player makes the coordinator? If those plays are made, we're not complaining about Brian Johnson. If against Dallas you don't have 3 turnovers by your top players and 2 catches by 2 of your top players, you probably win that game. And we're not talking about Brian Johnson.
No, we're not.
So, it's chicken and egg, I guess.
Now, Brian Johnson was trending yesterday on Twitter in Philadelphia for hours. And it's the problem I see is, though, there's no Matt Patricia to step in. You don't have a guy who's been a proven offensive coordinator to step in, and you already have heard Nick Sirianni, 7 games into his tenure, admitted he wasn't good at calling the plays and had to make a change. So I think the whole idea of fire Brian Johnson, it'd be great if there was another option. There's no other option on this staff to call plays.
Well, I'll say, why isn't Nick Sirianni an option? Why hasn't he learned enough after a year under Shane Steichen? Why didn't he watch that offense after 7 games, become a playoff team after you were 2-5, and then the next year have one of the most prolific offenses in the league with the same cast of characters back here again this year. You can't tell me that Nick Sirianni couldn't step in, an offensive guru, couldn't step in and take over with all that knowledge that he's procured from the last 2 years?
I would hope he could.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Me too.
I would hope he could.
So if what's holding you back, and I'm not saying that I'm calling for Brian Johnson, whatever, but if that's what's holding you back because you don't have somebody like Matt Patricia in there, well, then that's damning on Nick Sirianni.
Hey, bus driver's on the line. What's going on, bus driver? What's going on, driver?
Hey.
What's going on, man? You're on the air.
Oh, my God. How you doing?
What's up, buddy?
This is Biscuit the bus driver.
Biscuit, what's going on?
Hey, I'm good, man. I am good. I listen to y'all all the time.
We appreciate you guys.
I'm a school bus driver. I just parked my bus.
That's good.
First, I want to give 2 points. One, I want to talk about the Sixers, and I want to talk about the Eagles.
We'll talk about the Eagles because we're talking about the Eagles right now.
Oh, my God. Listen, my heart hurts. My heart hurts. I was going through an emotional thing yesterday, but I had some time to you laughing at me. I had some time to really think about it and things. But, that was really bad. That was really, really bad.
Did that game bother you as much as the San Fran loss? It didn't me.
Yeah, it bothered me just as much.
Okay.
Just as much. I don't know where I'm going at with this conversation because this is the first time I've called, and I got so much stuff I want to say in such a little time. But our corners are killing us.
Oh, well, one corner is killing you. His name's James Bradbury. He's killing you.
Man. Y'all really riding, Jay.
Well, I mean, it was terrible the other night again, and they only challenged the rookie corners 5 times the whole game. They went after Bradbury. They chose to target Bradbury.
I hate to be the one that always comparing to the team of the championship, but you had a run game. You had Jay Ajayi, LeGarrette Blount. You had the rookie Corey Clement.
Right.
They ran the ball with passion. We don't have no run game. To me, I have my opinion just like everybody else, but they're not running the ball.
Well, I mean, the thing is, though, is that, and we love you for
Biscuit,
calling.
they ran it 38 times last week, and they threw it 31.
And by the way,
over the last 2 games, they've run it 66 times and passed it 54. They're trying to run.
The only thing I'm going to call a little BS on those stats, Bob, is that Jaylen Hurts scrambling out of the pocket.
No, he only had 5 rushes in one of the games, and last week there was 2, 3 scrambles.
So you're getting them when he's running. They ran him the other night 13 times.
The first play of the game, the guy's sick all week, and you run a freaking quarterback draw the first play of the game for 13 yards. It didn't work.
He obviously was pretty healthy.
Hey, he averaged 6.3 yards a carry last week. I'm not gonna.
No, but I'm saying is though they're running the ball. They don't run the ball traditionally.
But did they last year?
Their running stats. No, they didn't.
Your main running back had 18 rushes last week.
Well, you're running out of an RPO last year. You're running out of an RPO offense last year. This year, they've decided that isn't something that they wanted to do. Whether it was the banged up knee or whatever, they made a choice that wasn't what they were going to do. And it was very effective last year. And I think it was a major part of why they were so successful. And they sold it. They sold it really, really well. Whereas this year, it's just not. There's been a lot of miscommunication, too, from the quarterback and the running backs. A lot of missed handoffs, fumbles, just strange things that we didn't see last year. Didn't see a lot of that at all. And when I see Gardner Minshew running an RPO offense where Gardner Minshew is not even really a threat to run, I just shake my head and go, we have Jaylen Hurts, and we're not doing that enough. And they have Gardner Minshew, who isn't a threat to run, and Shane Steichen's managing to still run an offense like that. The drop-off is real. Whether anybody wants to say it or not is a question. And when you're missing wide open underneath receivers, the easiest throws in the game for a quarterback, that to me, that's on the quarterback. That's not on, and I'm not a Brian Johnson, but that is on the quarterback missing those guys. He's got to be the one to make those throws. Brian Johnson can't tell him, look, there's a check down. Take it. Take it. I guarantee you he's not saying to him, you do not check down. You must throw it deep. BS. You look and see how things are developing, and then you take the check down.
Yeah, the fact that he only threw for 143 yards against one of the worst defensive teams against the pass, yeah, that's bad. The fact that he missed so many guys in the tapes that we're watching now that were wide open, yeah, that's bad. The fact that you're making a throw that forget it getting intercepted on the last, offensive play of the game. It was nonsensical to even try to go for that when you needed chunk yardage to get a field goal. A lot of what Jaylen Hurts has done lately is very questionable.
Hey, Mike from Delran. Michael, good morning.
What's going on?
What's up, buddy?
We're ready.
I'm pissed off. Yeah, I thought after, just kind of being calm about it yesterday, I'd be all right. I woke up this morning even more pissed off. Pete Carroll's our daddy, and it sucks. That dude has never lost us. What was it, 8-0 now, 9-0?
Yeah.
He's 8-0. Yeah.
14 years or something like that? Are you kidding me? That team sucks. They were 6-7. You kept telling me that the Giants aren't in our class. Well, guess what? Seattle's not supposed to be in our class either. And when we lose games because Jaylen Hurts continues to turn the ball over and we can't stop Drew Lock from going 92 yards, why am I supposed to have any faith left? When the Niners won, I called in and I was pumping my chest and I got called a cheerleader and I got told it was ridiculous for us not to sit here and criticize this team after the issues that we see, right? And now I'm hearing, you can't give up. Season's not over. Tell me what they've done to prove to me they can go in and beat it.
Mike, there's something in the middle. The season is not over. And if you think the season's over, I think that's idiotic. It's not over.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Oh, I believe but the season's not over, Mike. They're one of the best teams in the NFL.
I'm not even convinced they can beat the Giants on Christmas Day.
On Christmas.
That makes me want to throw up.
Well, I hope you have a Christmas.
If that dude DeVito looks like a Pro Bowl guy, I swear to God, I'm going to throw myself off the wall with this bridge. Go Birds.
I hope the Christmas doesn't end with Mike from Delran being on the news throwing himself off a wall. I don't want to see that. I don't want that to be the headline. And it won't be the headline, Mike. It won't. It won't. And look, it's all going to shake down. But he's more pissed today than he was yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday I think he was in a comatose state. Today he's out of the comatose and he's trying to regain all his functionality in one, swift movement, and that's what you get from Mike when that happens.
Sam from Cherry Hill joins us. Good morning, Sam.
Hey, good morning. How you guys doing?
We're doing all right, buddy.
Hey, so my point, it's one I want to get your opinion on. So Jaylen needs his blame for them not checking down and all that. But as you see, I think Steichen and his regression go hand in hand, and Steichen not being there. We've been getting punched in the mouth early, where last year we punched people in the mouth early, to where he's had to shoot for that home run ball so much to either try to get back in the game or win the game, that he's just wired that way.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is he didn't need the other night. What he needed to do was chew clock, move the chains, keep the ball away, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. But like I said, I think it might be the fact that we've trailed so much this season that he's trained this year to go deep so much that he's just missing it.
That could be. I mean, that's logical, Sam.
Yeah, haven't played with the lead so much that maybe they're not used to it anymore, right, Sam?
Yeah, that's the way I'm looking at it. And like I said, last year we came out hitting on all cylinders to where we didn't have to do that, to where he could just sit back, pick his poison due to the fact that he's not like, okay, I'm down 10, I have to go. I have to go.
Good job, Sam. Have a good holiday.
It's not a bad thought.
No, it's not a bad thought.
No.
As far as the understanding, like maybe you get into a mindset of, man, every time I feel like every possession's desperation. Instead of the Eagles were in total control of that game to be able to just control clock, bleed clock, run the ball. They did a beautiful job. Those two drives to start each half were gorgeous. Some of the best drives we've seen all season.
Yeah.
And then when you have to call plays on the fly, right now, I don't think Brian Johnson's winning a game at Candyland versus another NFL coach. I like even something that's totally thoughtless. I don't think he can. I think he's frozen in what do I do? And the scripted stuff is great. It works. All right, one more. Adam joins us. Adam, good morning. You're on the Fanatic.
Hey, John. Hey, I'm in Atlanta. We miss you a lot, John.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it, buddy.
Radio's better when you're on it.
Thanks, man.
I'll tell you what. I'm a big football fan, and just Jaylen Hurts' press conferences. I mean, look at Dallas, and they got their ass beat by Buffalo, and you look at Dak Prescott's press conference at the end. I mean, he sounds like somebody that's going to learn from his mistakes. Listening to Jaylen, it's like the guy's going to kill himself. He's just got it's like a weakness. He emotes a weakness to the other teams by the way he carries himself.
Well, that Dak press conference. I mean, there was a lot of self-awareness, a lot of ownership, a lot of. I got to tell you. But as Bob will say, is Adam, and we appreciate you. Everybody's different, right? I mean, that's
all Jaylen Hurts ever does is say it's on me, it's on me, it's on me, it's on me. I mean, he says it all the time ad nauseum. And we talk about how he doesn't say anything except he's got to do better.
Well, the thing
he meets a standard. I mean, he does it. He does what Dak did every single week.
But when you keep saying it and then you don't, you say, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to look at the tape. I'm going to fix it. And then nothing gets fixed. The words fall hollow.
Is it an Atlanta thing that you guys take press conferences so seriously?
No, I've always been about that.
Yeah.
They're too much in
Let's compare press conferences between Dak and Jaylen Hurts. Is that where we are now?
I mean, it's just, look,
if Dak is your standard, something's wrong.
Like the people go, I don't mean it. I say it, but I don't mean it. I think that's crazy to me. If you're going to say something, then say what you mean. Just say it and say, if it's, I totally understand. You're walking out of P.J. Wellaghan's and you're pissed off that they lost. Fire Sirianni, I hate this and they're pissing me off. But if 2 days later you're saying season's over, no, the season's not over. And if Brock Purdy got injured in a game, you think the San Francisco 49ers go in the Super Bowl? I mean, the season's not over. This team is right in position that if they can just take care of their business, which is, by the way, an if they can take care of their business, they're right there. And you never know what's going to happen. You never, ever know who's going to be the odd injury, the strange thing that's going to happen. Because I could see it happening. Even though San Francisco now, they're going to have a chance to get some rest.
Yeah, but if we're sitting here doing mental gymnastics a little bit, hoping for an injury, not hoping for an injury, saying an injury is going to happen and all this outside factors, I came into the season thinking the Eagles just control their own destiny. They go out there and play their best football, they can beat anybody. I can't sit here and say right now, if they go out there and play their best football, they're the best team in the league. I can't say that.
Jump on in with us at 610-632-0975. Very spirited conversation on fandom, where this Eagles season is at. And, again, I'm going to tell you, if you think the season's over, I think that's idiotic. I really do. But we'll get to more of that. Plus, Cootie Claus is in the house. I know that.
I am, and I'm doing it right now. 215-263-0975. We're going to go with caller number 7, Haley. Caller number 7, 215-263-0975. You get not one, but 2 tickets to tonight's Sixers-Minnesota game.
By the way, you can purchase tickets for any 76ers game at Ticketmaster.com/76ers. It's the John Kincade Show. Glad to have you aboard on this spirited Wednesday here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Look, I love my friends at DelcoHVAC.com. I love the Hoke brothers, and I love the service that they provide. Look, I am a spokesperson, but I'm a customer. And that's how I look at myself first. Because every single spring and every single fall, the folks from H&H Heating and Air Conditioning come to our home and maintain our HVAC system. And right now, for a limited time, when you visit DelcoHVAC.com, you can schedule a gas furnace tune-up that you should have done 2 months ago for only $79, and it includes a free carbon monoxide check. You can trust these guys. They're on time. They're on budget, they're customer-focused, and they're incredibly knowledgeable. Before they come to your house, you get a picture and a bio on the guy who's coming to do the work. It's amazing. Now, let's say you need a new HVAC system. Check out their special financing up to $1,200 in rebates on qualifying systems. Did you know they're an independent Trane dealer? And you know that that's very, very big stuff in the industry. Subject to credit approval. See the dealer for details. H&H Heating and Air Conditioning, my friends at DelcoHVAC.com. They'll serve you in Montgomery County, Chester County. They'll go over to South Jersey and Delaware. DelcoHVAC.com's got you covered. The Hoke brothers know how to get it done, and they're waiting for you now. Check them out at DelcoHVAC.com.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Please just win again. I'm Brendan Gunn, and this update is brought to you by Spring Dance Hot Tubs. All 2023 models must go. Save big now at any Spring Dance Hot Tubs 4 convenient locations, or visit SpringDanceHotTubs.com. As we all know, the Eagles are losers of 3 straight games, and the fate of their season hangs in the balance. The New York Giants are coming to town for a Christmas afternoon game against the Birds, but the Eagles' issues, they start with themselves, not their opponent. Jeff McClain joined the midday show yesterday and said it seems the Eagles are allowing the outside noise to affect the locker room.
It tells me that the locker room is allowing the outside noise and criticism to seep through. And look, I get it. Playing in Philadelphia is difficult, but there was a reason why there was criticism, or it was pointed out that 10-1 team wasn't playing like a 10-1 team.
The Flyers extended their point streak to 9 games last night with a thrilling overtime win over the New Jersey Devils by a score of 3-2. The team moved to 7-0-1 in the month of December. The Sixers look to get back in the win column tonight with a win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Joel Embiid looks to push 30-point streak to 13 games. Tip-off for that game is at 7 p.m., and you can hear that right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update is also brought to you by Lowe's. Don't miss out on new deals every day during Lowe's 25 days of deals. Save big on daily deals for the whole home. 25 days of deals only at Lowe's. Adam Schefter joined the show moments ago. He had a lot to say about Jaylen Hurts, the defensive coordinator, the whole team right now. So you can check that out on 975thefanatic.com. Keep it locked here for all the latest news and information on the home of the Sixers and Flyers. I'm Brendan Gunn, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Listen to The Fanatic all week for the chance to win a pair of tickets to see the Sixers on their current homestand. Purchase tickets for any 76ers game at Ticketmaster.com/76ers.
Happy holidays from the Fanatic family to yours.
Hey, this is Ricky Bo. I'm here to wish everybody out there a very happy holiday season and a great new year to come.
Yo, everybody, it's Brendan Gunn from the John Kincade Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm wishing all you guys a happy holiday season. Hopefully you guys are spending lots of time with friends and family. I know I am here at 97.5 The Fanatic, and go Birds.
Season's greetings, and thanks for listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Don't stand around. The curtain's coming down. Boy, this is good. So good, I'm all over it. Once again, Barbera is proud to support ToysForTots.org.
That's Birds coach Nick's pick.
Coach Sirianni. Boy, I guess.
Follow that bear.
Chiefs. Just $1.99 down. You're driving around Philly town.
That's a lease.
No, that is not a lease. Row after row, ready to go.
Every vehicle Barbera's got helps support Toys for Tots.
ToysForTots.org. We're ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen.
With prices so low and
Chiefs. Just $1.99 down. You're driving around Philly town.
And that's why Birds coach Nick picks Barbera.
Boy, I guess.
Hello. One more time for the money, honey. Once again, Barbera is proud to support ToysForTots.org.
Barbera! Every vehicle Barbera's got
Chiefs.
helps support Toys for Tots.
Oh, mama. Row after row, ready to go. Just $1.99 down. You're driving around Philly town.
Coach Sirianni, is Barbera the best? Boy, I guess.
Go Birds! He could go all the way! A 100-yard kickoff return!
In football, the special teams unit is the team's unsung hero. While they may be on the field only 20% of the time, special teams have an outsized impact on the game. In business, when tech problems interfere with productivity and prevent growth, Philly area CEOs and business owners sub in the special teams unit from Graffin Business Systems for managed IT services and comprehensive tech support for the win. Whether you need help with upgrading your infrastructure, server network support, cloud services, cybersecurity, or voice over IP, Graffin will put together a game plan that will keep your organization in the win column. From strategy to planning to implementation and beyond, Graffin keeps businesses going, and that's no bull. Put Graffin's IT special teams to work for your business at Graffin.com. That's GRAFFEN.com.
Hey, it's Jen Scordo. This holiday season, all your wishes are coming true on FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on all the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a huge range of betting options, too, like player props and spreads and overs and unders. Take advantage of this moneyline bet by taking whichever team has the biggest moneyline line for a win. You won't win a whole lot of money, but you're going to get those bonus bets. And don't forget to take advantage of those pre-built same-game parlays, too. Head on over to FanDuel.com/Scordo. That's FanDuel.com/Scordo and get yourself signed up. FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in PA. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame moneyline wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia Dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
No matter what the weather, most of us need to get on the road every day and get going. So we need tires to depend on in any condition. No one understands that better than the dependable people at Mavis Discount Tire. At Mavis, we believe nothing builds more confidence while driving than having the right tires at the right price, so you can confidently handle the road ahead. Roll in for $200 off select sets of 4 Goodyear tires. Visit us at mavis.com.
Celebrate the holidays with the gift of giving. Snag a $5 gift card and get a bonus $5 for you. Now for a limited time at manhattanbagel.com. Participating locations only. The gift that's always in good taste at manhattanbagel.com.
Jay Wellahan's wing of the month is Mexican garlic. It's a fan favorite, but it's back for just a limited time. So stop in your local PJ's or order online at pjspub.com.
Time is running out to save big during Bush Auto Group's year-end event. Right now, save up to $7,500 on select vehicles and enjoy financing as low as 0% on featured models. Hurry into one of our 2 Nissan locations in Exton and Limerick or our Infinity location in Westchester before December 23rd and explore our extensive lineup of new and pre-owned vehicles. Don't miss out on the best deals of the year because this offer ends December 23rd. Visit us in-store or online at bushautogroup.com. Philly rides with us.
There are 60 Philadelphia area hand and stone massage and facial spa locations. That's pretty amazing. They are prolific. They're all over the place. And right now, did you know you can get a massage or a facial starting at just $79.95? And they have walk-ins and same-day appointments available. But of course, it's the holidays. So you want to make sure you take advantage of a great gift. Buy a spa package, and you're going to get a free massage or facial gift card. Guys, with all that sunscreen you put on the golf course and the beach, you could use to get those pores cleaned out. That's all I'm telling you. There are 60 Philadelphia area hand and stone massage and facial spa locations. So go in and buy her a spa package, and you get the free massage or facial gift card to go along with it. It's a fantastic deal. You can also check out the locations nearest you for exclusive online offers. They even have an express men's beard facial that Tom Alvord might get for this holiday. You never know. Hey, give the gift of glow from Hand and Stone Massage. They've got 60 locations. No excuses. Get in today. Get that Christmas shopping done.
Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Morgan Batista was the winner from Cooney Claus.
Way to go, Morgan.
Of Sixers tickets. Always confuses me, though. He or she. Morgan.
Yeah.
It was a she.
It's a she. Morgan, have fun at the game. That's pretty awesome. Great job to take care of business. It is it's been some interesting conversation. A lot of people chiming in on the idea that whether the season is over, whether that's an overreaction, whether your heart or your mind is in on it right now, whether this team's lost you. And guess what? If this team lost you, I would understand how they pushed you over the edge. And I don't want to see Mike from Delran go off that wall. But I would understand how somebody feels broken by this team because it's been a relative collapse the last 3 weeks and 3 different ways to lose. But that sucks. I mean, it sucks. 3 different ways to lose. The absolute butt kicking where you physically are dominated. The mistake-ridden game where you could have been in it to the very end, but you kept giving the ball up. And then last week's game, which you're winning until 30 seconds to go. That's 3 excruciating ways to lose.
Yeah, and especially when the last team you lost to should have no reason being in a game with you. And you're still not playing anywhere near the caliber of play that you're capable of. And when that happens and you let a backup quarterback drive the length of the field, think about that. He threw for 92 yards on that last series. He finished with, 208. So he threw for about 114 yards going into the last series, and you let him go for 92? Like, what is that? You know what that is? It's a sign of a bad team. And right now, they're a bad team. They just are. That's a bad team.
Is anything going to change your mind in the last 3 games?
If they start playing up to snuff, yeah. I mean,
even though it's the Giants in Arizona?
But it's the eye test of the Eagles to me. It's like I say to you all the time, no matter the opponent, when you're a really good team, like I equated the Sixers beating those, teams that they just beat. It doesn't matter who you playing. You have a certain, here's the word.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm not going to say it. You have a certain way that you have to play. I've told you the Tim Duncan story many times. There's a certain way that you have to play no matter the opponent. That's what I want to see from the Eagles. No matter the opponent, that'll make me feel better. They're a long way from that right now. A long way.
I would like to thank, by the way, Mason, who took the time to do my drinking game on Twitter. He went back. He said he watched all the post-game coverage, and you would have taken 9 shots if you followed my drinking game of if Jaylen mentions standard, if anyone mentions that we're going to watch the tape and fix it. He goes, you would have had 9 shots.
It's probably half as much as you need to forget about that game.
Very good. Good job, Brendan. Hey, Corinne in Doylestown joins us. Corinne, good morning. You're on The Fanatic.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Great to have you on.
Thanks for having me. All right. So I have a couple of things. And my first thing was I called in mainly because I've been trying to call in like all last week, but I was trying to get those Sixers tickets for a Christmas present for my husband and my son. But here's what I have to say. I hear you, Mr. Kincade. The Eagles are a great team, but they're not right now. And I agree with Mike. Jaylen Hurts needs to get his act together. I don't know. I feel like he just gave up, whether he was sick or not. He just looked like he just didn't care. And I hope that he's okay.
Well, and you know that's not the case, right? Jaylen cares. Jaylen plays hurt.
I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore. You look at his face when he's sitting there on the sidelines. It's like I could care less. That's the face he has. I've seen his face in the Super Bowl and the games earlier on. He had determination on his face. He doesn't have that anymore. And I really hope that there's nothing really bad wrong with him, illness-wise. But I agree with Mike, but I'm not jumping off any wall.
All right.
So don't worry about me.
Mike's got people on the Corinne. We appreciate you. Mike's got people on the wall. He's got other people. Corinne's on the wall, some other people on the wall. And it sounds like Corinne is, really, really shaken.
Brendan, do me a favor. Show me your determination face, will you please? Yeah, show me your sad face, your frustrated face.
You have to go to the bathroom
What are we doing here?
I have to go to the bathroom.
Really?
You don't think there's a face?
Oh, my God.
No, but you don't, though?
No, I don't care. Okay. Seriously, he doesn't show emotion when they were winning 10 out of 11. We said it then. He doesn't show emotion. He got done playing a Super Bowl and sat there with emotionless watching the Kansas City Chiefs celebrate on the field. Didn't smile, didn't cry, didn't frown. I don't know if that was determination, constipation. I don't know what was on his face. But if we're reading into somebody's face as to where this season is going, we're worse off than the football team right now.
Yeah, I think saying that's like kind of just projecting your own feelings onto Jaylen Hurts. Like, you see the Eagles losing and you're upset, so his even keel personality makes you're projecting that onto him.
Okay, you're on YouTube. We're all on YouTube. Brendan, you start making misfires behind the board and start incorrectly putting sound on, do stuff like that. And I'm on camera and I'm doing this. Shaking my head. That's not like, and not once, numerous times.
Like this noise?
Wiener. Does that wouldn't bother you at all?
A little bit, but
Someone shaking their head at you messing up?
Yeah, it would get to you, but I don't think Jalen Hurts on the sideline. If you're James Bradbury watching Jalen Hurts sitting on the bench, then maybe that's why you're getting burnt toast on every play. Just pay attention to the ball. No one's paying attention to your quarterback on the sideline.
Yeah, I got to tell you, if I'm on that Eagles team, I have a lot more things to think about than the facial expressions of Jalen Hurts.
Well, then let's fix something, Bob. Then fix it. The Eagles have to address some things in your notes that that to go out there and win some games, and not only this week's games, but to be able to win games down the line. So, come on, fix something for me.
Well, that's the question I want to throw out to you guys, because I even put in my notes that we may have all different answers, and that could be telling. All right, what's the thing that needs to be fixed most in your mind, John, about this Eagles team in order to get to a place where you feel comfortable, okay, they could maybe contend for an NFC title?
The defensive secondary not looking so disorganized and lost. Period.
Fair enough.
I think it changes everything for this team, but I don't think you're necessarily going to be able to change it with the personnel you got. But hopefully Patricia can do some things. That's what I say. If you fix that, the Eagles win at least one of the last 3 games, and I think it would have been the Seattle game.
Brandon, what about you?
To me, it's the turnovers. You got to stop turning the ball over multiple times a game. These games that you want are a lot closer because you're turning the ball over, losing a lot of the turnover battles. And then the past 3 games where you're turning it over 2, 3, 4 times a game, that's the reason the scores are so lopsided.
And I go another way. I go getting the offense on track, because I think this team was built to outscore other teams. And if you get a guy in Matt Patricia who can maybe slow down the scoring to the tune of not 11 consecutive possessions where teams are scoring, if you can slow down the scoring of other teams, this offense is made to outscore teams. So I go there. There's probably other people that'll go linebacker, D-line, but it's everything, and nobody's wrong. It's everything. That's where this team is right now. It's not in a good space. It's not in a good place. They just don't have anything that you can put both of your hands around and say, okay, we can ride this to a victory now because it is performing up to par.
Let me take you back to the week after Labor Day, before this season began. None of us would have ever predicted this would be December. None of us. Team in disarray in December. And some of the issues that we brought up, like secondary, like the offense, the people turning the ball over all the time, the offense being struggling, these are all things that in September I think we would have rolled our eyes and go, well, that's not going to apply to this team.
Well, that's why you shouldn't look that far ahead. It's a week-to-week league. And in the last 3 weeks, they have been a team that they're unrecognizable.
They are unrecognizable.
They're unrecognizable. We couldn't have thought that out. We thought it was going to be a really tough, good San Francisco game here. Then you think, okay, well, you right the ship. You go to Dallas. Their defense wasn't playing all that well. You should score points. And Dak Prescott, he's terrible in December. That didn't play out. Then you go to Seattle. Oh, no question. They're going to turn it around there because, it's all good. They have a second-string quarterback. That didn't happen. You can't look at December and September. You just can't. And you can't look now into February or January back here in December. You can't. It's a week-to-week thing. And right now, the last 3 weeks, have, quite frankly, been sickening.
Can I look at my Bet Parks app? So I look at my Bet Parks app. 49ers clearly the favorites to go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. And the Eagles, a distinct favorite over Dallas to go to the NFC, to go to the Super Bowl.
Well, you see what Dallas does on the road. Nothing. So right now it does line up. The Eagles are going to win the NFC East.
And the thing is, though, is that look, they're always looking to get money on both sides. There's part of that with the point spread. But the Eagles are clearly they're the second favorite team. They're the third favorite team to go to the Super Bowl in football. Yeah,
it's one of those things where
people are like, season's over. This team's over. They're done. They're terrible.
Maybe we're too close to it. You look at the Kansas City Chiefs struggling a bit, but in my mind, I'm still thinking they're very much a real contender, right? But the Eagles are struggling a bit. I'm kind of saying I don't know right now because I watch them every single game, and they're not a good football team right now.
That could be part of it, is that sometimes you're more like Bob, you would say you're more critical. You'd be, as if you were a coach, you'd be more critical of Kyle than you would be of little Billy.
Well,
because you could maybe go a little tougher on your own son. You have a more critical eye.
Yeah. Well, I treat them all the same.
Right,
I wouldn't say more critical. Like, I'd be critical of everybody the same if I had a son on the team as opposed to a non-son. I'm very conscious of treating my son the exact same way I treat every other player. Yeah, but that means I can be as critical of my son as I can be to anybody. Sure.
The other kids don't have to drive home with you after the game, though.
No.
And get that extra. No, you didn't do that?
No,
never did that?
Look, you know how hard it would be to be a father, a coach, around your son all the time. I wouldn't. No, the game's done. The game's done. Let's go. It's time to go see
Have
Grandma
ice
and
cream.
Grandpa. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, no.
Eddie in Delco joins us. Eddie, good morning. You're on the Fanatic. Eddie.
Oh, hey, what's going on? It's Haiti.
Oh, what's
up,
going
Eddie?
on, buddy?
What's going on? Yeah, I want to talk about the game. So the last play, right? The last play they were playing a cover 3. I want to say that Matt Patricia actually called the right defensive call, but Bradbury played. He disguised like they were disguising like going to play a cover 2, but then he was already off and he still got burnt.
Why do you have to disguise that play at that time?
Say it again?
Why do you have to disguise what you're doing? Because it's very clear the only way you get beat is if something happens in a miscommunication. If you drop guys back, they're not ever getting behind you like they did the other night. Why are you even worried about masquerading what you're doing?
No, you're right. I mean,
you know what I mean?
At that point in time, you don't have to because I think it was 3rd and 10.
Right, 3rd and 10, and clock's running out, time's running out. They only have one timeout, I believe, at that time. So you're not really worried about them throwing it down the middle of the field because they probably want to save that timeout. I don't understand what they're thinking half the time.
Yeah, so I mean, like the defensive call is good. It's just the players that are being out of position and trying to do more than they have to.
So do you think Desai got run then unfairly?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because when it comes down to it, right, like as a coach, you can tell your players to do exactly what they need to do, but it depends if they actually do it while they're on the field in gameplay. Like, are they actually doing what I called? You know what I mean?
Okay, I get you. You understand?
But then it goes back to the coach.
Yeah, it's a tough one because, you had Bradbury come out and say, hey, I was playing sticks, and maybe I was too aggressive on that, playing that to not give up the first down, and then he got beat deep. I think that his admission there was, I didn't play it smart. Well, is the coach's message getting through to you, or was the message from the coach not that? I don't know. I don't know what the thinking was there, but why there was nobody else around, why he didn't keep the ball in front of him. Yeah, it's a little troubling. Okay, you got 3 games coming up where you should be able to survive it, but the Eagles will be without somebody during those 3 games. Who's the player who's going to be missing that we weren't expecting?
Yeah, per Mike Garafolo, Landon Dickerson is undergoing surgery on his thumb today. Sources say he is expected to miss minimal time, and he's not going to be placed on the IR.
Oh, good.
Yeah, surgery today, so hopefully it's only a week or 2.
Minimal time would seem like a week or 2.
That's tough, man.
Jeez.
Because if you have to go,
out too?
You see how offensive linemen, Trey and I are going through this the other night. You can grab inside the pads, right? You're grabbing. If you have to put on one of those bubble things, one of those like clubs, man, that's tough.
You don't have the same.
That's tough.
You don't have the same leverage at that point.
No.
Hey, Alan in Central Jersey joins us. Alan, good morning. Alan, you're on the air,
Tony,
buddy.
good morning. Good morning.
Hey, buddy.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. This goes beyond. Everybody keeps talking about 2 games. Okay, first of all, we are about as fortunate as could be to win against the Chiefs. We know Scanlon, what he did. And again, that's a Kansas City team that can't throw the ball for nothing. That's why. But we are forgetting the Buffalo Bill game. I keep hearing 2 games. Buffalo torched us for the most yardage. And again, it's not like they're an offensive juggernaut. They just ran through Dallas. They threw for like 82 yards. This is a team secondary, safety. We're not getting a pass rush anymore. The comparison of last year versus this year in pass rush is absolutely stunning. Bradbury's old and done. Slay's out, but our safeties are mediocre at best. Our offensive line has stepped back because in the past, as you know, that second to last series, Seattle would never have gotten that ball back. And how we can give up 1st and 92, again, to a backup quarterback, again, is absolutely incredible. But this is a team that is getting old in key positions, and we are getting it's not the facial expression of, I don't care, he's never, from first game in Alabama to Oklahoma to the Philadelphia Eagles, he hangs the ball. He doesn't have a strong arm. He's not he's a good quarterback, pretty good quarterback. He's as good as his surrounding cast.
Well, I got to tell you, Alan, you're not the number one pocket passer in the NFL last year if you don't have a good arm. You are. By the way, it was 7 weeks. He led as a pocket passer 7 weeks. So, I mean, that's a substantial amount of time.
Yeah, Alan brings up a good point, though. Like you said earlier, you think that San Francisco game might have broke them.
Yes.
Maybe they got broken going into that game by having to be on the field for 92 defensive plays against Buffalo. Remember what a struggle that was? The defense was out there all day long. Do you recover from that? That is draining. And then you go boom and get plastered by San Francisco. Maybe they were like wobbling in the middle of the ring and beat the 10 count against Buffalo, then got up for the next round against San Fran and had nothing and got their asses kicked. And maybe they just haven't recovered since. Maybe they haven't. Maybe
it's not a bad theory as far as, because it was the San Francisco game was completely out of character for the Sirianni administration. I mean, really, except the Tampa Bay playoff game, they hung around even in games that they lost his first year. They hung around. They didn't get just steamrolled by 30 points. They would hang around, and whether it was cosmetically close or not, they did that. That's an interesting thought, though.
Yeah,
But
physically, it's almost like that was just a physically hard game against Buffalo. And maybe Buffalo's not the most physical of teams, but your defense was out there for 92 plays. You went into overtime.
Do you remember Jordan Davis chasing Josh Allen?
Yeah, Josh Allen.
And he laid on the sideline.
Yeah.
Like, I'm exhausted.
And I'm not going to equate the two, but have we seen much of Jordan Davis since then?
No, he hasn't been making the impact he made before.
You just wonder, how much did that game take out of them? Was it a carryover for the next 2.5 to 3, maybe 3 full weeks? Does a week rest now do them good where now you can take a deep breath and get yourself back to where you think you should be? We'll see. A lot of questions. I thought it was telling that the question I threw out there, what needs to be fixed most, we all went in 3 different directions.
Absolutely.
And I gave you 3 other things that we all could have said also. It shows you how low things are right now.
I don't like the Landon Dickerson injury either to his thumb, but Landon's a good dude. Hopefully he gets well quickly. We'll miss minimal time was the word?
Yeah, minimal time, not going on the IR.
Good.
So
okay, that's good news. But again, as Bob was saying, like when you're wearing that club, it's like those things you and your brother got them for Christmas.
Yeah.
Where you were punching each other.
Yeah, and take your thumb away. That's tough.
What were they called?
That is tough.
The sock and boppers.
Yes.
Is that what they were called?
Yeah.
They
broke after
Bob
a
broke
half an hour.
On Christmas Day. They broke them.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cooney boys were throwing some lefts and rights.
Haymakers.
What can you imagine? Do they even have that today?
Probably not.
Can you
They
imagine?
have it on an iPad.
No, but can you imagine exactly? Can you imagine parents going, we're going to buy these things, and our 2 sons are going to kick the crap out of each other right in the middle of the living room?
And he was 8 years older than me. So
okay, that's
there was
unreal.
really one getting his ass kicked.
That's the best part about being the older brother.
I guess. I don't know.
Are you speaking as an older brher?
Yes, because I would do the same thing to my brother who's also 8 years younger than me.
Oh, my gosh. You're a monster. You're an absolute monster.
Mr. Grinch.
I told you, Doc would the Johnsons had sticker bushes right over the chain link fence, and we would play soccer across from one chain link fence to the other in the backyard. And there was a goal set up where if you had it between these things, it was a goal. So you're playing a full backyard game against my brother. And then I'm complaining about a call and that he's saying it's a goal and I'm not a goal. And then he literally takes me and throws me into the Johnson sticker bushes. That's like for little brothers everywhere. That sucked. I can still feel the landing
in
the sticker bushes. And you're rolling off going, what the hell's that about? I mean, my gosh. And he was also good for the old sitting in a room with you and going, John, stop. I'm doing nothing. John, stop, just to get my mom to go, John, leave your brother alone. And I did nothing. He was a con artist even then. Even then.
I think you probably had the history that backed his warranting doing that. Yeah.
Inspector Cooney
Yeah.
gets to the bottom line on it, which is true. Look, it's been a semi-cathartic day, and I'll say semi, in that I don't know today what we necessarily accomplished. Did the show make people feel better? Did it make people question maybe a little bit more? I got to tell you, usually, and I'm wide open to saying it, I'm moved by people who think differently than me. I'll go, okay, I'm moved a little bit. I am not moved on this at all. And I'll reiterate where we started the show today. The Eagles are going to win the division. They're going to be the 2 seed. They're going to have 2 home playoff games, and they will win both of them. That is what I can definitively tell you this morning. I think, I feel, I believe. And nothing negatively moved me off that. Even Landon Dickerson's thumb, which hopefully is going to heal quickly. I have a feeling that when we reconvene after the holidays, the talking points on this Eagles team will be different. And, Bob, they better be. They better be different. If they're not, this year may be one of the biggest disasters in the history of Philly sports. If this team self-destructs and then ends up like the wild card, it is one of the biggest self-destructs we've ever seen from a Philly. There was the one tight team.
Started 7-0 and then lost the next 7.
Yeah, I mean, like just terribly fell apart. So this would be an ugly one. And that team didn't have the expectations that this year's team has.
No.
So completely different. It would be awful. An absolute terrible thing. Hopefully it doesn't happen. All right, we'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. Support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, H&H Heating and Air Conditioning, my friends at DelcoHVAC.com, and make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research today. The Hoke brothers believe in this charity, and they're all over it. 975thefanatic.com/AACR, because cancer research saves lives. Andrew Salchunas, the Chunas show's coming up, but I understand we've got guesting in here?
Yeah, Ray Dunn's coming up. He's going to host in your seat